A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Well, Jane's niece Betty and Carl, the nephew of Mr. Race's business partner, have secretly decided to elope, in spite of the uncle's threat to cut Carl out of his will. Carl has $3,000 of his own, and today he's going to persuade Uncle Neff to buy him a car, the car in which he and Betty expect to honeymoon. This episode is in two scenes, Mr. Race's real estate office, and then to Mr. Neff's office. But first to Mr. Race, where we find Betty with her uncle.
Now, look, Betty, Mr. Neff doesn't approve of this interest you seem to have in Carl, or the interest Carl has in you.
Isn't that just too bad?
Well, it certainly is. For me, it's too bad. Because, as you know, Neff is my partner here. His prestige, his reputation, to say nothing of the money that he puts into this business. All that enabled me to put over some very big deals that I wouldn't have a chance with without him. Now, I can't do anything to antagonize the old man. And if you continue going out with his nephew, Neff's going to do something drastic.
Oh, he's been threatening you, has he?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't said a word. But I know him. That nephew of his is the apple of his eye. He told us so. He expects Carl to step into his place in the years to come.
Well, what do you want of me?
Well, I'd like to have you forget him. For the time being, anyhow.
Has it occurred to you that we might love each other?
Oh, sure. A month ago, you were in love with a 40-year-old musician.
It's just like you to bring that up.
Well, it's the truth. And this little flurry you developed over Carl is probably just like that other one.
It's no such thing. Oh, you wouldn't understand that.
Well, I understand only this, that I can't have you wrecking my business. And that's what this will amount to if you insist on going on with this.
How about wrecking my life?
Oh, wrecking your life. Your life was completely wrecked a month ago when we broke up that romance you were having with David Page.
Stop mentioning David Page in the same breath with Carl and stop shouting at me.
Well, I'm trying to show you what damage you can do if you go on with this. Mr. Neff will dissolve this partnership as sure as I'm born. I can't stand for that. I need him, and he knows it. Now, look, Betty, can't you let things kind of slide along for the time being? If I can keep this partnership going for a while, I can make enough money not to need Neff.
What do you mean, for the time being? How long?
Well, about 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years? You want me to wait 3 years?
Now, don't start crying. If you'll be sensible about it.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, who left that door open?
It hasn't opened. Hello, dear.
Hello.
What's the matter?
Are you very cold? Man, so miserable.
He did. Dear, how can you do a thing like that?
Like what? What did she say?
I don't know, but it sounds terrible. Now, you go ahead and let me talk to her. Go ahead, dear.
But I want to make her understand that my business is dependent on this, Jane.
I know, dear. That's what I came downtown for. You leave us to ALONE. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. I've got to go on anyhow. But I'm not finished with her. Now, look, Jane. You explain it to her, will you? Just what I told you last night.
I know, dear. Just leave it to me and everything's going to be honky-tonky.
Yes, that's what I'm afraid of. Well, I'll see you at dinner tonight, Jane.
Don't worry, dear. Just go ahead and be happy-go-lucky and careless. Everything's going to be all right.
Well, it better be. So long, Jane.
Goodbye, dear, and don't take any wooden Indians.
No, I won't take any wooden.
Now.
Oh, Aunt Jane, I'm so unhappy.
Unhappy? Here you've got the most marvelous fellow in love with you, and you're unhappy?
Well, what good is it if I can't love him? Uncle Ace just told me I'd wreck this whole business if I go on loving Carl.
Yes, I know. He told me about it last night, too. That's what I came here to talk to you about. You see, Betty, it's on account of Mr. Neff. He'll get awfully mad if you and Carl get married or even engaged, and he'll quit being a partner here. Then we can't make any money.
But I love him, Aunt Jane. I love him.
Mr. Neff?
No, Carl.
Oh.
And he loves me.
Well, that's what we got to talk about. Of course, you know it's going to come out all right, don't you?
What?
Of course, you know everything's going to end happily.
I don't see how.
Well, I don't either right now. But I've seen too many movies about the same thing, where the poor girl's in love with the rich boy, but his father won't let him marry the girl. Only it's the uncle here. And they come out happy every time.
But this is not a movie.
I know, but it's just like a movie. And I know it'll come out all right. You know, Betty, I didn't sleep a cent last night. I just lay awake thinking about this and all the movies I ever saw. And the more I thought of them, the surer I got that everything's going to end happily.
I don't see how his uncle is so against me.
Well, that's the way the father is in the movies. Oh, if I could only get Mr. Neff to see one of those pictures.
Oh, Aunt Jane, that's not going to help.
Well, it might. If we could take him to one, you and I.
Oh, is that the solution you thought of?
No, I thought of this just now. Of course, we won't do it. But it would be marvelous to make him see the movie. And you know what? If you could win the bingo and have a lot of money of your own...
Oh, Aunt Jane.
Well, anyhow, it's kind of cute to think about it. Of course he wouldn't go, much less you winning the bingo. Well, enough daydreaming. Now, let's talk about Carl and you. I promised your uncle last night that I'd talk to you and make you promise not to do anything rash.
What do you mean?
Well, some girls, when the boy's father or uncle won't let them get married, 9 times 10 the fellow wants to elope.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, I know you wouldn't do that, Betty, but if Carl wants to, you must say no, because that would make Mr. Neff mad. Then where would we be? We'd lose all our money. We'd be as poor as the church people.
Oh, Aunt Jane, I'm so miserable.
Well, now, you must promise me, Betty.
Doesn't anybody around here care what happens to my life?
Sure we do. You know how much I care. I'm the first one that wants you to get married. But in a case like this, with Mr. Neff and everything...
Mr. Neff, that's all I hear.
Yes, isn't it a shame? Say, I just thought of something. If Mr. Neff would say it's all right, you and Carl could get married, couldn't you?
Of course we could. But he's not going to say it's all right. He despises me.
Oh, he does now. He doesn't even know you. He's just seen you working here. He never even talked to you, I bet. He doesn't know you can be the sweetest girl in the world, present company accepted. Say now, that's an idea. Somebody ought to talk to him.
Oh, Carl's tried it, but it's no use.
Oh, but if I try, or somebody like me, maybe he'll stop being so obsolete.
Oh, Aunt Jane, would you? I don't want to wreck your life or Carl.
Sure I will. I'll go right over there now.
Oh, Aunt Jane, I love you.
Well, don't mention it. I'll be glad to. Why didn't I think of that before? I'll go right over there.
Morning, Uncle.
Morning. Why aren't you over at that real estate office where you belong?
I've been there. I came over here to have a chat with you.
If it's about that girl, the answer is no.
Now, wait a minute, Uncle.
I won't talk about it. You've got plenty of time for that later on. I want you to spend all your time now learning the business. Don't you see, boy, I have great plans for you.
Yes, Uncle, I know, but what I wanted to ask you is if you'd buy me a car.
A car?
Yeah, I saw a snappy roadster I'd like to have.
What do you need with a car?
Well, what any fellow needs with a car.
Well, I've got 2 of them. You can use either one of them anytime you want to go anywhere.
Yes, I know, but I'd like to have one of my own. Now this roadster I saw...
I bought you roadsters when I was sending you through school. I didn't see the need of them then, but I gave in. But I certainly don't intend giving in again. The car's out.
But, Uncle, it's not asking so much.
You've got either one of my cars and a chauffeur at your disposal anytime you want it. That's good enough, isn't it?
Well, no, since you asked me.
Well, it's just too bad. I wish you'd just tell me what you need with a car of your own.
Well, what any young fellow wants with a car.
Now, I wouldn't know about that.
No, I guess you wouldn't. You were never young.
What was that?
Oh, nothing.
Now, you look here, Carl. You're 22 years old. Time you started settling down. I have great plans for you. You're the only one I've got I can leave my whole life's work to.
Well, I don't see how it'll upset your plans to buy me a car.
Stop talking about a car. The answer is no. Definitely and finally no.
Well, okay then.
Where are you going?
Back to my $25 a week job.
Well, don't you see it's not the $25 you make? I give you everything you need, don't I? My home is yours. Everything I have is yours.
Yes, everything except a measly little car.
Don't mention that car to me again. Now go on back to your work and stop talking foolishness.
Well, good morning, Mr. Neff.
What?
Oh, hello, Carl.
Hello.
Where are you going?
Back to work.
Oh, well, goodbye.
Goodbye.
What do you want, Mrs. Ace?
Well, I guess I'm a little late. I guess Carl must have been talking to you about it.
Yes, he talked to me, and the answer is no.
No, huh? Why, Mr. Neff?
Why? Why what?
Why did you say no?
Because I'm through catering to his every wish. I didn't mind it so much when he was in school. All the boys there have him.
Yes, but that's just a schoolboy crush. This is different.
I don't see any difference. The first one he had there was a fast little stepper. He used to take her out for drives in the country every Sunday afternoon.
He did?
Yeah, he was crazy about that one. Never missed a Sunday. And was he fast?
He was?
I was afraid she'd climb a telegraph pole.
Primatella? Oh, now, you're just fooling, aren't you?
Fooling? I'll say I'm not. I saw her. I made him give her up. Later, he got another one. He had about 4 of them altogether.
4?
Yes, a new one every year he went to school, but I think he liked the second one best. Oh, she was a mess. Shabby, never kept her paint. She had a red hood. He kept writing me about that one. He called her Redhead.
Redhead?
Yes, he was proud of that little rascal. All his friends were stuck on that one, too.
They were?
Sure. Carl's big-hearted that way.
I'll save the world he is.
Yeah. That was the happiest year of his life, I guess, that second year. But as he got older, he got more settled in his taste. Why, his last year he was so dignified he gave up the flashy one.
Well, I should think he would.
Yes, very sedate and dignified, but still fast.
Mr. Neff, are you talking about Carl?
What?
Is this the truth you're telling me about Carl, or are you just trying to scare us with those stories so we won't let Betty have anything to do with him? Is that it?
Betty? Are you talking about that girl again?
Yes, but if this is true about Carl, well, I don't know.
Hey, what's true about Carl?
What you've just been telling me.
Of course it's true.
Oh, you're just making it up, aren't you?
Making it up? It cost me plenty of money, I ought to know.
Oh, a siren, huh?
Yes, one of them had one.
Had one?
Yes, one of them did.
Did what?
Had a siren on it.
Had a siren? Just a minute now, Mr. Neff. You're getting a little mixed up. You mean one of them was a siren, don't you?
Was a siren. Had a siren. One of the cars had a siren.
Cars? What cars?
The automobiles he had when he went to school.
Automobile? Are you talking about automobiles?
Am I talking about... Of course I'm talking about automobiles.
Well, you could knock me down with a fender, Mr. Neff.
What?
Whew, that's a relief off my mind. I thought you were talking about...
Well, at least Jane and Mr. Neff are on the same subject now. But we don't think she'll have much luck in changing the old man's mind. We'll learn more about her attempt when next we meet the Easy Eight.
Countdown for blast-off. X -5, -4, -3, -2, X -1. Fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company presents X -1. Tonight's story, No Contact. It was in the year of 1982 that spacemen first discovered the Great Galactic Barrier. In the past 10 years, rocket travel to the moon and the nearer planets had become commonplace. And then men fixed their sights on a more distant star, the remote planet known as Volta. 5 exploratory ships went out, and none came back, each in turn disappearing mysteriously at the same vanishing point, at an invisible wall somewhere in the vast outer reaches that became known as the wrecker of spaceships, the Galactic Reef. And yet, the explorers refused to admit defeat. It was on June the 2nd, 1987, that the rocket Star Cloud made ready for takeoff, the 6th to attempt to crack the barrier and win through to Volta.
Now hear this. Condition green. 2 minutes to blast off. Condition green. 2 minutes to blast off.
Well, Lewis, this is it. I don't suppose you'll be needing the ship's doctor up here on the bridge during blast-off.
I think not, Smitty. There's little chance of acceleration bends in these new overdrive ships.
I'll be in my office then, counting vitamin pills if you need me. It's only a few steps. Good luck, Lewis.
Thank you, Smitty. Lieutenant Collier.
Yes, sir?
You're relieved. You'd better get down to navigation control and take over.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant.
Yes, sir?
We've never flown together before. This is your first flight in a space vessel as big as the Star Cloud.
Yes, sir, but I was trained in oversized jobs at the Naval Academy.
Well, if you're half as good a navigator as your father was, you'll do fine.
Thank you, sir. Did you ship out with my father?
I served under him on one of the first rocket runs to the moon.
I see.
I almost went along on his last trip to the barrier. Too bad about that.
Yes, sir.
That's all, Collier.
Lieutenant Paulson.
Get me the ground control tower on the field. I want to talk to Colonel Harrison.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. I patched in the bridge speaker.
Colonel Harrison?
Yes, Captain?
We're standing by for takeoff in 30 seconds.
Good. The field's cleared of all personnel. We'll try to reestablish radio contact immediately after takeoff. In any event, there'll be a 24-hour ground monitor.
Fine.
Good luck. Hope you make it.
Thank you. Bridge to navigation control.
Nav control, Collier.
Ready, Lieutenant?
We're ready, Captain. The course is in the integrator for takeoff at 1200 hours.
All right. Stand by for blastoff. Bridge to engine room. Fire up your rocket chambers. Take off at exactly 1200 hours. I'll read you off. 20 seconds. 19. 18. 17. 16. Hold it. Revoke all orders. Who turned in that alarm?
Paulson, sir. We've uncovered a stowaway.
Stowaway? Where?
Hiding in sick bay. Dr. Smithson found him.
Have him brought up to the bridge. Engine room, kill your rockets and stand by.
Thorson, this is Colonel Harrison in ground control. What's holding you up?
Trouble.
What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with you? There's a stowaway aboard.
Stowaway?
Yes, I thought your men were supposed to police this base. What's the matter with you?
Captain, take it easy.
You know what this delay can do to us, don't you? 1 minute later, takeoff can throw us 1,000,000 miles off course. We'll have to reintegrate the whole works.
Well, look, how long do you think it'll take?
Don't bother for me for a while. I'm busy. Stupid idiot.
Captain Paulson?
Yes, come in, Smitty.
Here's your stowaway.
Now, court-martial... Oh, Charlie.
Can you use a good radio man, Skipper?
Well, I see you two have met.
Matt, Skipper and me made 50 trips to the moon together. Didn't we, Skipper?
Charlie, if you wanted to come along, why didn't you volunteer?
I did, Skipper. They turned me down.
Well, what's wrong with you?
Acceleration bends. They said my arteries wouldn't stand another trip.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But they're wrong, Skipper. I got one more good trip in me. Listen, Skipper, you know that these green kids, they don't know the first thing about space radio operation. Now, you put a man like me on, and I'll be getting you bedtime stories from Mars.
Charlie, you know the regulations as well as I do. I can't take you much as I'd like to.
Colonel Harrison will murder me for this.
Well, I'm sorry, Charlie. I'll have you put aground. I'll tell you what, I'll ask Harrison to put you on his ground radio contact, and it'll seem as if you're right here with us.
He won't do it, sir.
Well, he'd better. I'll have him busted to corporal for letting you sneak aboard. Look, Charlie, you better be off. Paulson.
Yes, sir.
I'm sending this man aground. Give him time to clear the launching platform.
Yes, sir.
So long, Charlie. I'm sorry.
Good luck, Skipper.
I thought you were going to have him drawn and quartered.
If it had been anyone else, I would have, Smitty. But Charlie, well, he's kind of special. He's been with me since my first command when we began the regular run to the moon. And if he wanted to come along this time, well, it's only through loyalty to me.
You know, Lewis, I didn't realize it before, but you're almost human.
Captain Dawson, nav control, Collier.
Oh, yes, Lieutenant. How badly are we fouled up? Can you recalculate the course, or shall I cancel the takeoff?
I've already plotted a new course on the integrator, sir. If we take off in exactly 30 seconds, we'll need to correct for only a 1-degree deflection. I can do that before we reach the stratosphere.
That's quick work. Are you sure?
Yes, sir. Positive, sir.
All right, Collier. I'm putting it in your hands. We'll blast off on your signal. Bridge to engine room. Prepare to blast off on navigator's signal. How are we doing, Collier?
Coming on the bearings, sir. That's 4, 3, 2, 0. We've intersected the course vector.
Good work, Collier.
Course is corrected, sir. We're ready to go into atomic overdrive anytime you say.
All right. Stand by.
Yes, sir.
Now hear this. Now hear this. Prepare for maximum acceleration. Bridge to engine room. Kill your rockets.
Rockets out.
Fire up number 1 cyclotron.
Number 1 ready.
Fire up number 2.
Number 2 ready.
Withdraw your dampening rods.
Fission chamber ready. Blast tubes cleared. All generators operating at capacity. Take it over, sir.
Go into overdrive at the count of 0. 3 seconds, Mr. Collier.
3,
2,
2,
1,
1,
0.
0.
How are we doing, Collier?
On course, sir. She's running hot and true.
My compliments, Lieutenant. This job would have done your father credit, and he was the best navigation officer I ever saw.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Start your gyros. Put her on robot control. All right, the bridge is yours, Mr. Collier. If you need me, I'll be in Dr. Smithson's office.
Yes, sir.
I see you got us off the ground.
You can thank young Collier for that. Chip off the old block.
You knew his father?
As a matter of fact, I knew him very well. First-rate spaceman.
Oh, is he the one
Yes. He was lost in the galactic barrier on the second ship we sent out to Volta.
Louis, just what do you think this galactic barrier is?
Oh, your guess is as good as mine, Doc. All I know is that 5 ships have gone into it, and none of them have come back out.
You think it's a nit? How about Mestrovik's theory that it's a time warp in space? That the ships reach it and slip into another dimension?
I think that's a lot of rubbish. My theory is that the galactic barrier is nothing more than a radioactive layer of some kind.
Why do you say that?
Well, we know that radar signals bounce off it like they were hitting an invisible glass wall. And we know that it destroys our ships and crews in some way. There's no other logical explanation.
What makes you think we can get through it, Louis?
Because we're ready for it. The others weren't. The entire hull of this ship is completely shielded with lead. We can crack through any radioactive cloud ever detected. Besides, we're equipped with some new UHF radio devices that should enable us to maintain radio contact with Earth. Nothing can happen. Absolutely nothing.
Now, who are you trying to convince?
Well, myself, I suppose.
Louis, you've had your share of glory. First skipper to reach the moon back in 1962. You could have retired. Why are you risking this trip?
5 ships are missing. Men like Prentice, Margetson, young Collier's father. I'm tired of seeing good men fed into that meat chopper.
Then why are we going to Volta?
We haven't any choice, Smitty. We're in a race, the kind of race where men and ships are expendable. According to the Interspace Code, the first nation to reach Volta can claim it.
Well, personally, I want no part
of
it.
Now, Doc.
I'll have to play physician, morale builder, and mother substitute for 112 slightly nervous men.
Well, your morale doesn't sound too good, Doc.
As morale officer, I can state without fear of contradiction, it is terrible. And something tells me as we approach that galactic barrier, I'm not going to be alone.
Hello, Earth. Hello, Earth. Captain Thorson of the Star Cloud calling Earth.
Hello, Star Cloud. Hi, Captain.
Charlie. Well, I see they haven't court-martialed you yet.
No, sir, thanks to you.
Well, it's good to hear you. You can read us the funny papers on Sunday morning.
Right.
How's our signal?
Strong. Clear as a bell.
Now, here's our log report for Colonel Harrison. You ready?
Shoot.
June 2nd, 1987. 4 weeks out from Earth. Running through. No radiation. Operation normal. Still making our approach to the galactic barrier. That's all, Charlie. See you later.
Good luck, Captain. I sure wish I was with you.
How's the morale, Smitty?
The men know we're getting closer to the barrier. They're beginning to show a little tension, Louis.
Oh, how's their physical condition? Any sickness?
About half the crew has come down with space blues.
I was afraid of that. Are they bad?
Same as usual. Lips and hands with a bluish cast. Eyes are sensitive to infrareds.
I don't know. When I first started flying these tin cans, nobody ever heard of space blues.
Well, now there's a theory it's caused by the terrific acceleration of atomic overdrive. Change in gravity affects the circulation.
What do you think?
I think it's psychosomatic. I've noticed that the same men who get space blues under tension on a ship tend to get blue coloration back on Earth when they're upset. I guess it's just an occupational disease of space navigators.
You think it's just nerves, then?
Well, young Collier's got a bad case. I think it's tension from overwork.
Maybe he needs some vitamins.
Louis, when will you realize that vitamins are not a panacea for all the troubles of mankind?
Sir, I understand that you've relieved me from duty.
Well, Dr. Smithson says you aren't looking very well, Collier. I'm giving you a rest.
Sir, I feel perfectly able to continue.
Your lips are as blue as Minnetonka.
Captain, I'd like to remain at my post.
Don't be foolhardy, Lieutenant.
I'm not being foolhardy, sir. I have a special, personal reason for wanting this expedition to reach Volta.
Your father?
Yes, sir.
You think he might still be alive?
I have to find out what happened, sir.
I think I understand. Very well, Collier. Report back to duty. What's the reading, Paulson?
We're getting a +5 radar bounce now. Coming off the barrier almost as fast as we sent it out.
What's the interval?
2 seconds. Shortening steadily. At this rate, we'll hit the wall in the next few minutes.
All right. Alert the crew. Sound general quarters.
Now, hear this. Condition red. We are now approaching the galactic barrier. All hands to stations. All radiation detectors to be fully manned. Full security will prevail until further notice. That is all.
Paulson.
Yes, sir?
The radar bounce is up to +6. We'd better try to make final contact with Earth. Is Sparks still trying to raise the base?
Yes, sir, but he's not having much luck.
Oh?
Seems to be some interference. Oh, that's the radio room now. Yes? You got him? Well, cut in on the bridge speaker. Captain will take it from here.
Hello? Star Cloud to Earth. Can you hear me, Earth?
Hello, Skipper. I can barely read you. We're getting heavy static from sunspots.
That's not sunspots, Charlie. We're right on top of the galactic barrier. Getting a +7 radar bounce. Expect to hit the barrier almost any second now.
Good luck, Skipper.
If we crack the barrier and come through still in one piece, I'll try to get back to you on the high-frequency band.
Gotcha, Skipper. Don't worry. I'll be waiting.
So long, Charlie.
So long, Star Cloud.
Must be getting awfully close now, Captain. Echo's bouncing back so fast it's almost beating the signal.
Well, when they go inside, hold on to your hat. That's when we run into the wall.
Any second.
Hold on.
Oh, here goes nothing.
Here it comes.
Captain.
Nothing happened.
We made it. We made it, Captain. No radiation, no time warp, no nothing. Now, the crew's gone crazy, sir.
Let them. They've earned it. Doc, can you break out a few bottles of snakebite serum for medicinal purposes?
I sure can, Lewis.
This goes for a celebration. How's your morale now?
It couldn't be better. How's yours?
Couldn't be better. What the...
Condition red. Condition red. Radiation detected. Condition red. Radiation detected.
Holy mackerel. Look at the needle on that indicator.
Paulson.
Yes, I see it, Captain. Picking radiation like crazy.
What's it like?
Well, it's a strong impulse.
What kind?
I don't know. It's too long for a cosmic ray, too short for UHF. Whatever it is, sir, the ship is lousy.
Well, track it down, triangulate it, and make it fast. I want a directional fix.
Yes, sir.
Engine room.
Yes, sir.
We're picking up radioactivity. Is the fission chambers?
No leak here, sir.
Check your gauges.
Nothing here, Captain. Must be coming from outside.
Damage control. Is our lead shield leaking radiation? Well, keep at it. Paulson, how are you doing?
I've got it fixed, Captain.
Well, what is it?
Well, I'll have to recheck my figures.
Oh, hurry it up.
Angle is correct, but
Come on, man, for Pete's sake. Where's the radiation coming from?
Sir, it's coming from inside the ship.
That's impossible.
No, sir, I've checked it twice.
Well, it's got to be the engines, then.
If it is, sir, we're finished.
Engine room.
Yes, sir.
That radiation must be in the overdrive pile.
No, sir, it isn't here, sir.
Are you certain?
Yes, sir.
All right, keep checking. There's only one thing left to do. Paulson, get a Geiger counter. We're going to start combing this ship inch by inch.
Yes, sir.
All right, turn it on.
Yes, sir. All right. Ready, Captain.
We'll check the atomic guns first. Come on. We'll cut through the officers' quarters here to ordnance. Now turn here.
Oh, wait a minute, sir.
Huh? What is it?
The signal's weaker now.
Yeah. Let's go back. Hold it. Seems strongest right about here.
Oh, it doesn't make sense.
Whose cabin is this?
Lieutenant Collier's.
Collier?
Oh, he's down in that control, sir.
Oh, I'll try the door.
It's not locked, sir. Oh, it's in here, all right. Listen to that counter. Strongest over here.
Open that wall cabinet.
It's locked,
I'll
sir.
smash it. Shut off that Geiger counter. Now, what do you make of this, Paulson?
Oh, it looks like some sort of portable transmitter, sir. Must be foreign manufacture. I don't recognize the calibration symbols at all. I've never seen anything like it.
Which raises a small question. What is Lieutenant Collier doing with a transmitter in his cabin?
I don't know, sir.
Well, I intend to find out, Paulson. Get down to nav control and bring Collier up to the bridge on the double.
Well, hadn't we better find some way to shut this thing off first?
I know a way. Lieutenant Collier, I'm going to ask a few simple questions, and I want a few simple answers.
Yes, sir.
What were you doing with a transmitter in your cabin?
Transmitter, Captain?
Oh, you know nothing about it.
Oh, no, sir, I don't.
Do you recognize these calibration symbols?
No, sir.
Can you think of how it might have been placed in your cabin without your knowing it?
No, sir, unless someone came in while I was on duty.
Would that have been possible?
I suppose so, if someone had a key.
I found your cabin door unlocked.
Well, I meant a key to the wall cabinet.
I didn't say the wall cabinet.
Well,
You what, Lieutenant? How could you have known it was in the wall cabinet?
Well, I just assumed, sir.
Lieutenant Collier, I find it hard to believe you would lie. Having known and respected your father, having observed the way you handle your job. However, I intend to get to the root of this thing. May I have your wristwatch, Lieutenant?
Sir?
Your wristwatch.
Yes, sir.
Paulson, turn on that Geiger counter.
Yes, sir.
Hold this watch next to it.
Yes, sir.
That's all. Lieutenant, if you hadn't any close contact with that transmitter, how do you explain the radioactivity of this watch?
Well, I don't, sir.
I think you'd better. To whom were you sending those signals?
Condition red. Condition red.
There's your answer, Captain.
What is this, Collier?
Alien spaceship approaching. Alien spaceship approaching.
Collier, who's aboard that ship? All right, now talk!
Very well, Captain. My mission seems completed.
Your mission? Are you admitting that you're an agent of a foreign power?
I'm stating it.
What nation?
No nation, Captain.
What?
I am an agent of the Voltan government.
No, what?
The government of the planet of Voltan.
You're crazy.
Are you so stupid, Captain? Did you think your people are the only ones who can invade another planet?
What do you mean?
We've had agents operating on Earth since 1945.
I don't believe you.
What do you think happened to those 5 ships, Captain? Where do you suppose we got our information? Your language, your culture, family background.
Your appearance, you look like...
Like Commander Collier? Well, is that so surprising, Captain? You see, Captain, we had a living model.
I ought to kill you.
That would be very foolish, Captain. I would advise you to surrender without delay.
Alien ship now coming into ordnance range.
I'll deal with you later, Collier. Paulson?
Yes, sir.
Put this man in irons. Take him away.
Don't worry, sir. We'll take good care of him. Carpenter, Robinson.
Gunnery.
Gunnery, Richardson.
What's the range?
10,000 meters. They're closing fast.
Put your guns on radar tracking.
Tracking. Coming on the bearing.
Fire. Fire, Richardson. Richardson, did you hear me? Fire! What's the matter down there? Did you hear me? Richardson, answer me.
It's no use to shout, Captain.
Collier, how did you get loose? Where's Paulson?
Lieutenant Paulson is dead.
All stations! Lieutenant Collier has escaped. Seize him, men.
Don't waste your breath. Your men can't hear you, Captain.
What?
Those still alive are my men.
You're lying.
No, Captain. Every ship that has ever left Earth was controlled by a Voltan crew.
That's impossible. Those were hand-picked men.
Hand-picked by us.
I don't believe you.
No? Then why not call for help?
Carpenter, Robinson, Haley, report.
You see, Captain?
Carpenter, Robinson, Haley,
It's quite useless, Captain. I would advise you to sit very quietly and do nothing.
Very well, Collier. You've beaten us. What now?
The ship will be taken to Volta for, shall we say, further experimentation.
I see. Of course, there's one thing you hadn't counted on.
Just what is that, Captain?
Carpenter! Are you in there, Lieutenant Carpenter? Can't all be dead. There must be one alive. Smitty, Dr. Smithson! Smitty!
Smitty, what have they done to him?
Lewis,
Dirty. Now, don't talk.
I must lean closer. There's not much time. Lewis, space blues.
Space blues? What is it, Smitty? What are you trying to tell me?
All men with space blues. Voltans.
Let me help you.
Oh, Lewis, get message back to Earth. Voltan, 5th column. Watch out for space blues.
Smitty. Oh, Smitty.
Captain Thorson, you can't hide from us now. Come back to the bridge and surrender, or my men will come and get you.
Hello. Star Cloud calling Earth. Oh, please, God, let me get through before it's too late. Hello.
Star Cloud to Earth. Come in, please. Come in, please.
Hello. Star Cloud to Earth. Captain Thorson calling. Charlie, come in, please, hurry.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me, Charlie?
Skipper, is that you?
Are you getting my signal?
It's coming in a little louder now, Skip. Keep sending.
God, now look, Charlie, listen to me. Not much time. Get word to Colonel Harrison. Crew mutinied. Most of crew members, Voltans.
What?
Voltans.
Spell that.
V-O-L.
Voltans.
That's right. They're from the planet Volta.
Skipper, are you all right?
Now, Charlie, this is serious. They'll be here any second. Now, listen, they have a 5th column on Earth. They're planning to invade you.
You mean it?
Of course I mean it. Tell Harrison, posing as humans, you can detect them by space blues. You got that? Only Voltans get space blue. Charlie, did you hear me?
Space blue. I get you.
They're breaking in, Charlie. I'm depending on you. Warn everybody.
Captain.
They're open the door. So long, Charlie. Tell Hannah.
Captain Thorson. Hello, Star Cloud.
What's the trouble, Sergeant?
I was just trying to raise a Star Cloud, Colonel.
Had any luck?
No, sir. No contact.
No contact, eh?
No, sir.
Nearly an hour since they hit the galactic barrier. I don't understand why they haven't tried to get a message back.
No, sir. Neither do I.
Oh, all right. I'll take over for a while.
Yes, you do that, sir. It's all yours.
Right. Oh, and Charlie, you better go out and get yourself some coffee. You look a little blue around the gills.
Tonight, X-1 has brought you No Contact, written by George Lefferts from an original story of Lefferts and Ernest Kinoy. Featured in the cast were Louis Van Ruten as Captain, Donald Buca as Collier, Wendell Holmes as Charlie, and Bill Griffiths, Bill Smith, Matt Crowley, and Ken Williams. Your announcer, Don Pardo. X-1 was directed by Fred Way and is a transcribed NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week. When you want to take over a world, you naturally look for its weak point, some way to catch its people off guard. We live in a world where everybody loves a parade, a world of press agents and publicity stunts. But who would ever dream that invaders from outer space would take advantage of that weakness and actually hire a press agent to advertise their coming? Who would believe it was anything but just another publicity gag? At least, not until the terrible moment when it was already too late. The moment of X minus 1. Countdown for a blast off. X minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, X minus 1. Fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future. Adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company presents X minus 1. If you wanted to take over our world with a minimum amount of resistance and trouble, how would you go about it? Tonight we'll tell you how, with a strange and chilling story by George Lefferts. The Parade.
You are Mr. Sid Ryan.
The same.
My name is Luchar. I am a Martian.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. What was that again?
A Martian.
As in Orson Welles?
Precisely.
I'm a Rotarian myself. Sit down.
Thank you.
Now that we've had our little joke, Mr. Luchar, what can Publicity Associates do for you?
I am interested in obtaining publicity. It has been my observation that advertising and publicity are the very backbone of earthly civilization.
Spoken like a true Martian, Mr. Luchar. Now, if you'll tell me the name of the client.
The client, of course, will be the Martians.
You don't give up, do you?
Give up?
The gag, I mean. Oliver.
Yes, Mr. Ryan?
This is Mr. Luchar.
Oh, how do you
Mr. Luchar claims to be a Martian. Take him outside, will you, Oliver?
I am happy to see, Mr. Ryan, that my telling you I am a Martian has approximately the effect I guessed it would. I believe we can do business. I have here a cash retainer of $5,000.
$5,000? Oliver. Take a look at that wad of lettuce.
It's the real stuff, Mr. Ryan.
And my client is prepared to spend many times that amount.
Sit down, Mr. Luchar. Oliver, get the client a cigar, the 50-cent box.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, now, what can I do for you, sir?
I wish you to manage a publicity campaign. A very large and important campaign.
Is the product established, or is it something brand new?
Something quite new. Now, what would you judge the most effective type of campaign?
Well, if the client has a lot of dough to throw around, a suspense campaign is best. First, you place ads in the paper saying, "Watch this space." Then about a week later, you run an ad saying XYZ or PDQ, and you get people guessing what it means. Then finally, when you've teased them enough, you bust loose and unveil the product.
Excellent. We will conduct a suspense campaign.
Of course, in this kind of campaign, secrecy is very important. Once the name of the product leaks out, it spreads like wildfire, and the whole campaign is kerfloppo.
Quite so, quite so. The utmost secrecy.
You realize, of course, these things cost like crazy.
Would, say, $1 million cover expense?
Come again?
I said, would $1 million cover it?
Why, yes, I am at... You did say $1 million.
I understood that you have handled some very large accounts. Of course, if this is too big...
No, not at all, not at all. As a matter of fact, I seldom touch anything less. Right, Oliver?
Huh? Oh, of course, that's right, Mr. Ryan. Absolutely right, yes, sir.
You will begin, then, by saturating the newspapers, the radio, the streetcars with a very simple statement.
What's that?
I will write it on a card. Here you are.
The Martians are coming. Say, that's not a bad teaser. Got that, Oliver?
Yes, sir.
The next ad will read, June 1st is Martian Day.
June 1st is Martian Day.
What happens on June 1st?
The parade takes place.
What parade?
I wish you to arrange a parade up Fifth Avenue.
You mean like the Macy Parade?
Exactly. Except that the theme will be the world of tomorrow, the Martian world. My client would like it to be a gay affair. Balloons, clowns, pennants, pretty drum majorettes.
Say, that sounds terrific. I might be able to interest the department stores in a tie-in.
Fine. The parade will climax the campaign. On June 1st, the product will be unveiled.
Good enough. By the way, Mr. Luchard, just what is the product? What are we selling?
Oh, no, Mr. Ryan. Secrecy, remember?
Yeah, but after all...
Mr. Ryan, all will be revealed to you in good time. For the moment, let us say that we are selling a concept.
A concept?
The concept of invasion from Mars.
Sorrel Talent Agency.
Sammy Sorrel, please.
This is Sammy.
This is Sid Ryan over at Publicity Associates. Listen, Sammy, how you fixed for midgets?
I got midgets.
Fine, I need 40 midgets for a parade. 40. June 1st. And listen, Sammy, I want them dressed in little spacesuits.
In little...
You know, like men from Mars.
Mars.
Okay? And I want some movie extras, maybe 50 of them.
50.
Also rigged up like men from Mars. Make them look gruesome. Got that?
Gruesome.
Also, I need some horses with pretty girls on top of them. Maybe you can get that bunch from Maroney's Traveling Circus, the one we booked for the Fireman's Parade in Albany last year.
Yeah, I'll try, Sid.
Never mind the expense. Just get me the talent.
It sounds like you landed a big client. Who is it?
It's a secret. I gotta hang now. Call me back, Sammy.
Right.
How you doing, Oliver?
Oh, fine, Mr. Ryan, just fine. I got 100 small boys pasting little stickers. The Martians are coming on the subway platform.
Good.
We got full-page ads in all the dailies.
Good.
And 10-second spot announcements on every local station.
Good.
It's costing a fortune.
Good. The more it costs, the bigger our percentage. Spend like you were going to the electric chair, Oliver.
Yes, sir. How are you making out in the parade?
If it comes off, it'll be the biggest thing since Barnum invented the midget. I've got Macy's, gimbals, and sacks to contribute floats. Everything is built around the Martian theme, see? Even the horses will have long feelers attached to them and funny-looking extra legs. It'll be sensational.
That sounds fine, only
what?
Mr. Ryan, we don't even know what we're selling.
Oliver, my boy, do you think old Sid Ryan has been sitting here spending all this moolah and not putting two and two together?
You mean you know who Luchar represents?
Just by accident, understand. I have learned that Century Pictures is making a big new epic. One of those expensive pictures they make in secret and then spring on the public because they don't want the other studios to get the jump on them.
What's the picture?
A space opera titled Invasion from Mars. Get it?
Oh, I begin to see.
Also, by mere coincidence, it's supposed to have its premiere sometime around June 1st. You follow me?
Yes, but, Mr. Ryan, Century has an exclusive contract with New Feature Syndicate for all their publicity.
Suppose Century Pictures doesn't like the way New Features is handling their stuff. They want to get out of the contract, but New Feature says no, so they have to get around the contract. A man named Luchar, client unknown, starts publicizing the Martian invasion. Need I go further?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Ryan. Sounds pretty far-fetched to me, but I don't know.
That's what I like about you, Oliver. You're so innocent. Now, let me talk to Commissioner Patrick, please. Sid Ryan.
Hello.
Commish, Sid Ryan.
Oh. How are you, Ryan?
Fine.
What is it this time? You want to drop a man off the Empire State Building into a teacup full of water? The answer is no. Also, we're not arresting any fan dancers.
You know I don't handle fan dances. I want a permit for a parade. June 1st, 5th Avenue. It's a Sunday. There's no traffic.
Now, look, Ryan,
Macy's gets a permit. Gimbals gets a permit. The American Legion gets a permit. The Sons of Erin march every time Morton Downey sings the Wearing of the Green. Oh, don't give me a hard time, Patrick. This is too big. I have the 5th Avenue Merchants Association behind me.
Okay, Ryan. Fill out the forms. I'll pass them along to the license commissioner.
That's my boy.
By the way, what's the occasion for this parade?
Oh, don't you read the papers, Patrick? June 1st is Martian Day.
How is the campaign going, Mr. Ryan?
Like wildfire, Mr. Luchar, like wildfire. Everybody and his brother is going along with the gag. Yesterday we distributed 50,000 Martian hats to school kids. I got some of the merchants doing World of Tomorrow displays in their windows. Every big novelty manufacturer in town is climbing on the bandwagon. They want to get into the parade with floats, giveaways, anything. Everybody smells a buck to be made. I wouldn't be surprised if the mayor himself declared Martian Day. I've even arranged for Commissioner Patrick to accept a $50,000 check for the Policeman's Benevolent Fund from the man from Mars. Oh, it's terrific, terrific. My blood pressure's up to 200.
Excellent.
I understand Century Pictures spent over $1 million making that space opera.
I beg pardon?
Oh, come, Mr. Lucha. Sid Ryan wasn't born yesterday, you know. I know who our client is, even if you don't admit it.
You do?
Always thinking that's me.
Well, as long as you know, let's keep it to ourselves, shall we, Mr. Ryan? As you once remarked, when these things leak out, it destroys the surprise and ruins the effectiveness of the campaign.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ken Daly speaking to you from our portable transmitter atop the reviewing stand for the much-heralded Martian Parade on Fifth Avenue. It's a beautiful sunlit day here in New York, a perfect day for a parade, and the streets are packed with thousands of spectators all eager to find out what this is all about. There's an air of shrill expectancy. Some of the kids and their parents have been camped on the curbstone since early this morning to be sure of ringside seats when the so-called Martians pass by. I've just had word from Sol Brown up at Central Park Mall that the Martians have landed from big pink balloons. And now, while we're waiting for the arrival of the parade, we brought some people up to our microphone to tell you their reactions to this most spectacular of all publicity stunts. That's right, come on. What's your name, madam?
Miss Ada Shackley.
A little louder, please.
Miss Ada Shackley.
And where are you from, Mrs. Shackley?
Columbus, Ohio.
I see. And I see you have your family with you, too. Two little curly-headed blonde boys. Are you in New York on vacation?
We came for the Shriners Convention with their daddy.
What do you think of Martian Day, Mrs. Shackley?
Well, it all seems very strange to me, but the boys have been pestering me to watch it, so we've been standing here 2 hours. I can't make head or tail of it.
Well, neither can a lot of other people, Mrs. Shackley. But judging by the thousands here today, there's a lot of curiosity.
Curiosity killed a cat, folks say.
Well, let's hope not. Thank you, Mrs. Shackley.
Mr. Ryan,
Right. And this is Mr. Sid Ryan, ladies and gentlemen, the publicity man who's the brains behind the Martian Day stunt. Hello, Sid.
Good morning, Cadet.
Easy, not so close to the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, Sid, you've certainly lifted the lid this time.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Sid, there's been a great deal of speculation as to exactly what all this is leading up to. I've heard some folks say it's a big war bond drive. Others think it's just to stimulate local business. And, look, I understand in the trade itself, the smart money says you're building for the premiere of Century's forthcoming extravaganza, Invasion from Mars. Now, come clean. Can you tell us what the real story is?
I can. I'd like to, but honestly, I can't.
Oh, man of mystery, eh? Are you going to watch the parade from the stand here?
No, I can't. I can't stand noise. I'm going out to my office and watch it governed.
Well, thank you, Sid Ryan, and good luck. And here they come, ladies and gentlemen. The first units of the big Martian parade, swinging down Fifth Avenue with fanfare, colored streamers, music, confetti, floats, all the trappings of a Mardi Gras. And here in the vanguard is a whole troop of little midgets in weird-looking pink and blue spacesuits, carrying Rube Goldberg weapons with signs painted on them. Let's see, I can read one which says, Atomic Blaster. Another one has a placard reading, We're Martian through Georgia. And here come the clowns, laughing and falling all over each other. They're giving free sugar candy to the kids along the way. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a happy, laughing crowd along Fifth Avenue today. A true reflection of the great sense of humor and good nature that makes America the place it is. This is promised as the climax of the show.
And now a great hush has fallen over the crowd. It's quite a sight to see these thousands of people standing here expectantly, hearing only the great regular sigh of their mass breathing. And now here they come, ladies and gentlemen. The Martians. Marching in booted, helmeted ranks. Row after row of them. My, this is an impressive sight, ladies and gentlemen. And a rather serious contrast to the rest of the joyous slapstick parade we've witnessed. There are perhaps, 200 tall, broad-chested men dressed in metallic gray spacesuits with thick glass visors drawn across their faces. Each is holding an ominous-looking ray gun at the ready position. They're marching in absolute silence, keeping step perfectly, as though some mute, unspoken command were marking time for them. The crowd seems rather grim and serious now. Perhaps they're reminded of the actuality of war and possible invasion. They stand solemnly, silently, watching. Even the children are awed. And now the first ranks of the Martians are moving past us down Fifth Avenue toward the reviewing stands at the square. No one moves. What's that? There, a woman, ladies and gentlemen. She dashed out into the street. For what reason, I don't know. She attempted to lift the visor of one of the Martian spacesuits, but just as she reached the Martian, she fell forward in a dead faint. I tell you, I've never felt such mass tension in a crowd as we're experiencing here right now, today. All sorts of rumors have begun filtering back through the audience. There are excited whispers of, she's dead, she fainted. And now an undercurrent of, what? They're really Martians. This is an example of how a single incident can precipitate mass hysteria, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, it's a mighty reassuring sight to see the blue uniforms of New York's finest spaced every 10 feet or so along the avenue. Somehow, I can't explain it, this incident has begun to work on what was a moment ago a happy, carefree crowd, and the complexion is changing.
Did you see that? A woman fainted.
Of course I saw it.
What do you suppose she saw?
Oliver, old man, did I ever tell you were too naive for this business?
But that young woman ran out into the streets to get a close look at the Martians, and then she screamed and fainted dead away.
I'm well aware of that, Oliver, since I paid her $50 to do it.
What?
The dramatic moment, Oliver. The stock and trade of the good publicity, man. Relax.
Holy smokes, you sure think of everything.
Yeah, for my share of this deal, roughly $100,000, I can afford to think of everything. Shut the window.
Don't you want to see the finish?
We'll go down to the reviewing stand for the finish. Right now, I want to make a phone call. By the way, where's Lucha?
I haven't seen him.
Oh, he'll be around.
Boy, those Martians sure look like the real thing.
How would you know the real thing if you saw it, Oliver?
Well, gee, I don't know.
Close the window, Oliver.
Oh, yes, Mr. Ryan.
Sorrel's Talent Agency.
Sammy, this is Sid Ryan.
Say, listen, Sid, I was going to call you. I'm awful sorry about those Martians.
What do you mean sorry? They're terrific.
No, don't joke, Sid. I mean it.
Well, I mean it, too. They're great.
Are you in the bag?
Never felt better.
You mean it, don't you?
Of course I mean it. What is this?
There are Martians in the parade?
About 150. Of course, I only ordered 50, but
Sid.
under the circumstances...
Sid.
Well, what is it?
Sid, don't you know? I couldn't get you a single movie extra. There's a studio strike in New York. I was going to call you, but I figured...
Wait a minute. Where'd these guys come from if you didn't hire them?
I don't know. Maybe Oliver...
Oh, hold on. Oliver.
Yes, Mr. Ryan?
Did you hire those Martians?
No, sir,
Sammy, this is on the level, isn't it?
Honest, Sid,
Okay, Sammy, I'll call you back.
What's the matter, Mr. Ryan?
I don't know. I just don't know. I got to locate Lucha. What's Century Pictures number?
Mr. Ryan, this is Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Well, get me their publicity director, Marty Sanford, at home.
Oh, yes, sir.
E, 2, 4. Here you are.
Thanks.
Sanford.
Marty, this is Sid Ryan.
Oh, hello, Sid. How's the
Fine. Listen, Marty, this is dead serious. On the level. Get it?
What's wrong?
I've got to locate Lucha.
Lou who? Who?
Lucha, come on now, Marty. This is life and death. The guy you sent over to hire me for the invasion picture.
Invasion picture?
Invasion from Mars, the space opera.
Are you batty?
Marty.
That picture was shelved last month.
What?
Sure, back in the can. Too expensive and too fantastic. The big shots decided you can't sell a Martian invasion to the American public. And I never heard of a guy named Luke.
Mother heaven.
What is it, Mr. Ryan? You look terrible.
That's too fantastic.
What's too fantastic, Mr. Ryan? Is something wrong?
Open that window. I want another look at those Martians.
Yes, sir.
Look at them. Oliver, you were in the Army. Could 150 movie extras learn to march like that in, say, 24 hours?
Not in 24 days, Mr. Ryan.
Not a second's hesitation. Not one other step. Look at the way they carry those ray guns at the ready. The only other time I've seen troops march like that was in a film of the Nazi stormtroops marching through the streets of Paris. See those chests on them? That's pride. Sheer, arrogant pride. Look at those chins. That's contempt. Nobody could act like that.
Mr. Ryan!
Oliver, get down there. Find that woman who fainted. Her name's Gloria Montex. Get her up here. Make it fast.
I can't get much sense out of her.
Stay away from me.
Gloria, it's me, Sid Ryan.
Oh, don't kid me. You're a Martian.
Gloria, settle down.
No, you're wearing a mask.
Baby, it's me, Sid.
And underneath, it's awful. It's all big green eyes and those feelings like a captain.
Baby, snap out of it. Listen, what happened down there? You ran out and screamed like I told you, but the fainting, that wasn't the act.
Oh, go away, please. Go away.
What'd you see?
Oh, no, please. It's too awful. Please, please.
Just one question, baby. Inside that helmet, what'd you see?
You won't get anything out of her, Mr. Ryan. She needs a doctor.
Okay, Oliver, I've heard enough anyway. You take care of Gloria here. Get her a drink.
Where are you going?
To see the commissioner. We got to stop this parade before things begin to happen.
Okay, Ryan, what's the beef?
Listen, Patrick, I don't know what it is, see, but something's wrong. You got to stop that parade.
I suppose you'd like the riot squad. That would get you a front-page spread on every paper in town. Honest, you publicity guys give me a pay.
This may be a matter of life and death.
Oh, sure. Look, Ryan, I've got no time for your cheap publicity gags. I'm a busy man.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you I don't know where these Martians came from, who they are, anything about them. All I want you to do is stop the parade and make sure they're on the level.
Ryan, I'm wise to your tricks. Now, if you let the sergeant show you out...
You won't do it, huh? An honest citizen appeals for protection and you refuse.
I most emphatically do. Now beat it.
All right, Patrick. I'll go right to the mayor's office. I'll have you busted flatter than a fried egg.
Go ahead. I'm sure His Honor will be glad to toss you out on that phony nickel-plated skull of yours.
You heard me, Ryan. You cannot see the mayor. Adolf, please. This isn't a gag. I don't want publicity. All I want to do is maybe prevent something horrible from happening.
In case you don't know it, wise guy, something horrible is already happening. A couple hundred little kids are in the hospital with ptomaine poisoning from that phony Martian candy you passed out. Or didn't you know?
I didn't. We've got to stop that parade.
Sure, you'd like nothing better than to start a panic now. Maybe a few hundred people would get trampled to death. Think of the newspaper space that would get you and your product.
I won't stand for this, Adolf.
You won't have to, because you're going to get out of here right now. Go on, beat it. Get out. You and your publicity stunts make me sick to my stomach.
Oliver! Oliver, where are you? Oliver! Oliver!
It is useless
What?
to scream at him, Mr. Ryan. Your friend is quite dead.
Lucha.
He wanted to run to the police with some story about a Martian invasion. I found it necessary to restrain him.
Restrain him, you stinking murderer.
Now, Mr. Ryan, collect yourself. After all our planning, it wouldn't do to have everything spoiled, now would it?
Lucha, start talking and talk fast, because when you get through, I'm going to take you apart piece by piece. What's this all about?
But surely you know, Mr. Ryan. After all, you've been publicizing it for months.
Listen, you...
Please, do not interrupt. You see, before colonizing your planet, we Martians sent advanced scouts to study your habits, your weaknesses. We found that the people on Earth are predominantly conditioned by advertising and publicity, and so... we conceived the idea of treating our entire invasion as a vast publicity stunt. Clever, huh? After all, Mr. Ryan, who would suspect an invader who advertised his invasion in the newspaper, invited the public to his surprise attack, and spent millions publicizing his plans?
Holy jumping catfish.
You've done very well.
Then there was no product.
Ah, but there is a product. The product is death.
What are you trying to do, Lucha?
We Martians are a humane people, Mr. Ryan. We do not like to destroy thousands where a few hundreds would suffice. In exactly 2 minutes, our troops will treat the world to a spectacle of death, which will bring the rest of your planet to its knees in horror. Nations will clamor to surrender.
Perhaps, Mr. Lucha. But not if I can help it. You...
Yes, please.
Operator, this is Mr. Ryan. Get me the field telephone on the reviewing stand of the Martian Day Parade. Hurry.
Anyone in particular?
Just hurry.
Reviewing stand, Sergeant Cassidy.
Get me Commissioner Patrick.
Hello.
Hello.
You'll have to talk loud.
I want Commissioner Patrick.
Oh.
Patrick!
Wait a minute. Things are quieting down. Now, what was it you wanted?
This is Ryan. I have to talk to the Commissioner. It's a matter of life and death.
I'm sorry, you can't talk to him now. The Chief Martian is presenting the PBA check to him. The Martians are going to fire a salute.
Listen, you got to stop him.
What?
Stop him!
I'm sorry, Mr. Ryan.
You idiot! The worst is going on!
This is the operator. I'm sorry, Mr. Ryan. You've been cut off. I can't seem to get them back.
Doesn't matter, operator. Nothing matters now.
Tonight, X-1 has brought you The Parade, an original story written by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Joseph Curtin as Ryan, Joe DeSantis as Luchar, Alexander Scorby as Daly, Agnes Young as the woman, Ellen Denning as Gloria, John Thomas as Oliver, Arthur Anderson as Sammy, Wendell Holmes as the Commissioner, and William Keene as Sanford. Your announcer, Don Pardo. X-1 was directed by Fred Way and is a transcribed NBC Radio Network production. Next week, the tables turn. Instead of Martians invading Earth, we bring you a tale of men invading Mars. Ray Bradbury's brilliant short story entitled Mars is Heaven. Suppose you were a member of the first rocket ship crew to land on Mars, but instead of seeing Martians, you find that you've landed in a town that looks just like home, that all your dead relatives and friends are there to greet you, so that as incredible as it may seem, you think you're really in heaven. That is, you think so, right up to the fatal moment. The moment of X-1.
Join the Abbotts on another baffling mystery tonight over most NBC radio stations.
On board the Gregory boat, the scene is one of quiet yet steady activity. The boat is plowing through the fishing banks off the coast of Lower California, Mexico. Mrs. Gregory and Joan, acting on Captain Bradford's orders, are locked in their cabin, while Jerry and the captain take turns at the wheel where they can keep an eye on the Swedish engineer, Peterson. After a radio message from the girl commander of the Euclidean submarine they know to be following them, Joan Gregory has hinted that Peterson may be the Euclidean electrical wizard Thales in disguise. Captain Bradford is just relieving Jerry at the wheel, and they stand talking before Jerry turns in for some much-needed rest.
I'm all right, Captain.
Yes, I know you're all right, but you're tired, Jerry.
Oh, that won't hurt me any.
Of course it won't. Be good for you if you get enough rest to make up for it. Now you run along and turn in.
Oh, I'll go in a minute. But there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about first.
Well, maybe it'll relax you a little to talk. Go to it, Jerry.
Oh, for one thing, look at that barometer.
Huh? Well, looks like we might have a little weather.
Well, we're getting down into the right latitude for a Chubasco.
Well, we might get one at that. We're a little too far off the coast for one of those Mexican hurricanes to hit us very hard.
Well, just the same, I've got a notion we're going to get hit by one.
You ever ride one of those things out?
Yep. When I was only 12 years old, Dad took me on a deep-sea fishing cruise with him, and we got caught in a storm down there. The fishermen called it Tabasco, and it was sure something.
They're mean, Jerry, and they come up quick.
Well, could we get through one in a boat like this?
Oh, I think so, if we were lucky enough to hit the edge of it, and we're out too far to get the center.
Well, this boat looks mighty small when you think how high those waves get, and that wind blows plenty.
That's bad, all right, Jerry, but we've got unusual engines in this boat. Nearly 3,000 horsepower. We can hold into the storm forever if we don't get swamped.
Yeah, if.
Well, we're not in any storm yet, and I don't believe we're going to get in any one, so stop worrying about it.
Okay, Skipper.
You said you had something else you wanted to talk to me about?
Yes. Well, it's sort of about the same thing, but it's about something else.
That's very clear, I'm sure. It's about the same thing, but it's something else.
Well, you know what I mean. It's about the storm, if we run into one, and about those powerful motors of ours.
You sound serious, son. Talk some more.
Well, you know how to run these motors, and I guess it's all right if you stay awake to watch them every minute. But if anything happens while I'm on watch, I'm not so sure I can handle it.
If anything happens to the motors? That's not likely, but Peterson can do more with the marine engines than he men on the West Coast today.
I know he can, and I'm afraid he'll do it.
What?
Well, he knows just too plain much about those engines to suit me.
Yes, I'm beginning to see what you mean, Jerry. If we do run into a storm, those engines are going to mean the difference between getting out of that storm and not getting out of it. And if Peterson is his fellow Thales, he might not feel like helping us any.
That's what I meant.
Well, to tell you the truth, Jerry, I'm not the least worried about Jones' suspicions. Oh, of course, Pete could easily be spending part of his time on the island as one of those scientists, the rest of it around Los Angeles, posing as a marine engineer, but I just don't believe that's the story.
Well, I do. Jones says those men of G-47s are from every country in the world, and if Peterson is smart enough to be as good an electrical engineer as he is a marine engineer, well, he could be Thales easy enough.
Well, I'll admit there's room for your worries, kid, and I'll keep an eye on Pete if we run into trouble.
No, we won't have to run very far. Looks to me like we're in a storm right now.
No doubt of it now, Jerry. In 92 minutes, we're going to be somewhere near the center of a man-sized hurricane.
Then I'm not going to turn in.
Afraid it wouldn't do you much good. You'd soon get turned out anyway.
Well, maybe I'd better go and wake up Mrs. Gregory and Joan.
Might as well. They're never going to be able to sleep through this, and they might feel better to be dressed and ready for it.
Well, I'll go and wake them up. Then I'll come back to you.
Be sure and tell them to put on plenty of warm clothing and some oilskins if they're coming out on deck.
Okay, Skipper. I'll tell them. Oh, boy. Those engines sound like the stern's coming clean out of the water.
Yes, who is it?
It's me, Jerry. You'd better get up and dress. We're running into a storm.
I can't hear you.
I said it's Jerry. You'd better get dressed. We're running into a storm. Put on a lot of warm clothes.
We're dressing now, Jerry. We'll put on our slippers and be out in a few minutes.
I'll be at the wheel with Tex.
We'll join you there.
They were already getting up, Tex.
Just as well. This thing is going to be bad. It's coming faster than anyone I ever saw. Must have sneaked up on us in the dark.
Everything's running all right, though.
Oh, we'll get through it, but we're liable to get pretty wet before it's all over.
Is it all right for Mrs. Gregory and Joan to come out here on the deck?
It is now, but if it gets too bad, they'll have to stay in their cabin.
The engineer seems to be making those engines behave.
He'd better. We wouldn't be any too happy here without motors.
Say, where's the cook?
He's trying to make some hot coffee, but I'll bet he's having trouble keeping the coffee put on the stove.
Hey, that's too rough for me.
I don't know about this thing, Jerry. If it gets too bad, we'll use the radio and have somebody to stand by for us.
Nobody's going to come into the middle of this thing and try to find us in the dark.
No, but they could be waiting to pick us up when we get out on the edge of it.
Can you tell if we're in the worst part of it?
We're not yet, but the trouble with these things is that you can't tell where the center of the storm is. We may be heading right for it.
Well, I hope it never gets any worse.
It'll be all right as long as those motors keep going and the rudder post stays in.
One of those Euclidean submarines would look pretty good to me right now.
It would if that's done. You get down in the water a few fathoms, you never know there was a storm up here.
Our girlfriend must be right under us with her stuff.
Yes, and that's an idea. Supposing you go to the radio shack and see if you can raise her. You may be glad she's following us before this thing's over.
You want me to go and do it right now?
Yes, and take Pat and Joan in there with you. We'll keep them from worrying about this storm.
Okay. I'll see if they're ready.
you, Jerry?
Sure, it's me.
Where's Tex?
At the wheel. But he wants you to come into the radio shack with me. I'm going to call a girl commander in the submarine.
Are we in danger, Jerry?
No, but
I think we are. Joan, you go with Jerry. I'll join Tex at the wheel.
But Mrs. Gregory, the captain said for me to take you into the radio room.
I'll be responsible for that. You take Joan into the radio room and do as Tex orders.
Watch out for the spray when you pass that cabin.
Is the boat able to stand such a storm, Jerry?
I don't know. Come on. We've got to get busy in the radio shack.
Why do you call the radio cabin a shack?
Oh, for the love of mud, Joan. This is no time to ask questions. Now hang on to my coattail and we'll see if we can get around to the starboard side. Hang on tight, Joan.
I will, Jerry.
Boy, that's getting bad.
It does seem so on this little boat.
Well, this little boat is all we've got right now. Hope I can raise the commander on this thing.
What wavelength were you using the last time we talked with her?
3 meters?
Then she will be waiting for your signal on 3 meters.
I hope so. Commander S1. Jerry Hall to Commander S1. Gregory Boat, Euclidean submarine. Hello, sub. Jerry Hall to Commander S1.
Commander S1 to Gregory Boat. You may proceed, Jerry Hall. Proceed with your message.
Hello, Commander. Looks like we may need you before this is over. The storm is getting pretty bad up here on the surface. What can you do to help us out?
I will bring my command up to green balance. Drop your bow anchor at once. I will take your anchor with my stern magnetic fin. Reverse your motors. Run them at full speed astern. If your anchor chain holds, that will stabilize you. Drop your anchor at once. That is all.
Okay, Commander. Well, Joan, I guess she thinks it's serious, so she wouldn't do that. You stay here and listen to this radio, and I'll report to Tex and drop that anchor, and then I'll come back in here with you.
I will do as you wish, Jerry.
Hey, look out! You don't get hurt by some of this stuff sliding around in here. So hang on the radio table.
Yes.
It's bolted to the deck.
I will take care of myself. Hurry and drop the anchor.
I'm going right now. Hey, Tex! Tex! Mrs. Gregory!
Hang on to the rails, Jerry. We're right here.
I just talked to the commander of the submarine.
Get closer, Jerry. We can't hear you.
I said I just talked to the girl commander. She had me drop the bow anchor. She's coming up the 3 fathoms to grab it with that magnetic fin in the stern of the sub. She wants us to reverse the motors to hold the anchor chain steady while she drags us out of this.
Good work, kid, and that's fine, all but one thing. We haven't got any motors.
What?
The motor stopped, Jerry.
And I'll bet that guy Peterson stopped them.
Looks like it. We haven't shipped enough water to hurt the engines any.
Then that means Peterson is tailies, just like Joan said.
I'm afraid it does, Jerry.
Boy, this boat's sure rocking around us. I hope that girl hurries up about tying this submarine onto us.
Is Joan in the radio room?
Yep, she's all right.
You go back in with her, Jerry, and you too, Pat.
I'll stay here with you, Tex. Go back and stay with Joan. Will you please, Jerry?
And keep in touch with the sub all the time. Tell her our motors are dead and she may have to use all her speed to keep us straightened out.
Okay, Tex. I'll tell her.
Is the storm getting worse, Jerry? The boat is tossing about much more.
Well, I don't know about the storm, but our engines are dead.
Was that an accident?
No, I don't think so. And the captain doesn't think so either.
Then I was right. Peterson, the engineer, is Thales, the Euclidean.
And it looks like it. Now keep quiet while I tell that girl sub-commander about our motors. Jerry Hall, the commander, S1. Gregory Boat, Euclidean submarine.
Jerry, the submarine magnets have just picked up our anchor.
Yeah. Now keep still and let me try to pick up the commander. Jerry Hall, the commander, S1. Jerry Hall, the commander, S1. Gregory Boat, the Euclidean submarine. Our motors have stopped. Can you hear me? Our engines have stopped. Can you hear me, Commander? Jerry Hall, the submarine. Hello, Commander.
The journey back to Magic Island is proving much more difficult than the escape from the island. Just off the coast of Lower California, Old Mexico, the Gregory boat has run into one of the hurricanes so common to that locality, known as the Chubasco. The storm is so bad that the small boat is in great danger, which is increased when the motors stop and leave them helpless. Jerry radios to the girl commander of the Euclidean submarine, which is following them, and she picks up their anchor with a magnetic fin on the stern of the submarine. For several hours, the storm rages, then is gone as suddenly as it appeared. We find Captain Bradford and Mrs. Gregory standing at the wheel as the storm subsides.
Oh, Tex, that was the worst storm I've ever been through.
Certainly the worst I ever went through, and a boat as small and helpless as this one.
Now that the wind has gone down, we're moving awfully fast. Do you think it's safe to be towed at this speed?
Might be a good idea to go a little slower. That girl certainly makes that submarine move along.
What are your chances of starting the engines?
Can't tell until I look at them and see how much damage Peterson did.
You're sure he did it?
How else did it happen?
Accident?
No chance. Those motors quit cold when they were running perfectly. That was no accident.
Where is Peterson now?
So we'll have to find out. We should go and stay with Joan in the radio room and send Jerry to me.
Well, can't I help you?
Nothing for you to do. I'll feel safer if you're in the cabin with Joan when we round Peterson up. And while you're in there, call the submarine commander. Explain our position to her. Tell her that this speed is too high in smooth water. She'll have to cut down to about 25 knots if she's going to lose us.
Very well, Tex. You'll be careful, won't you?
Don't worry about me. Run along. There's Jerry coming out of the cabin now.
Well, I'll hurry in and stay with Joan.
Hello, Mrs. Gregory. Storm all over?
Well, it looks like it, Jerry. I'm going in with Joan, and the captain wants to see you right away.
Okay. Joan's listening to the radio. Morning, Skipper. That submarine's sure dragging us along.
Yeah, a little too fast, Jerry. I just told Mr. Gregory to radio that girl commander to cut her speed to 25 knots. She'll have us flying if this keeps up.
Did you try to start the motors?
Haven't had a chance to see what's wrong with them. Didn't dare leave this wheel while the storm was so high.
Well, I'll take the wheel if you want to look at the engines now.
Good idea, kid. Take it over, and you'll have to handle it like a basket of eggs until we lose some of the speed.
How about the course?
You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, sure, I forgot. Submarine's towing us.
Yeah, when a boat like this makes 35 knots, you can be sure something's towing us. Well, I'll shove off and have a look at the engines, and, Jerry.
Yes, sir?
If the engineer shows up before I find him, tell him to come and see me. Understand that now. Don't enter into any conversation with him. Leave that to me.
Aye, aye, Skipper.
Hello there, young feller.
Huh? Oh. Hey, say, where have you... Oh, never mind. Go see the captain.
There is the captain.
Down in the engine room, trying to start the motors.
He's going to find that pretty hard job, you betcha. I try all night to start them engines.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Okay. What stopped them in the first place?
How should I know?
Oh, maybe you shouldn't. You're just the engineer on this boat.
When a motor gets ready to quit, it quits. By gimme, what makes us go so fast?
Oh, you don't know, huh?
How should I know?
Yeah, I know. You're just the engineer on this boat. And I suppose you didn't know that there was a Euclidean submarine towing us ever since 2 o'clock this morning.
I wonder why the boat goes better without the motor.
Sure, and being an engineer, you figured it was all right if the boat got along swell without you. So you crawled into a lifeboat and went to sleep.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess.
It's no guess. The lifeboat was the only place you could have been. Now, you better go down the engine room and see the captain.
I got to go see Mrs. Gregory
You're
first.
not going one step toward her cabin?
What was that you said?
You heard me. Don't you even start around that side of the boat. Now, you get in that engine room and start explaining to the captain.
Explaining what?
Plenty of things. But the captain will ask the questions. My business is steering this boat.
Then give your best attention to your business.
Hey, where did that voice come from?
You will learn where a great many things come from if you attempt to prevent my reaching Mrs. Gregory's cabin.
So, Joan was right. You're Thales, the Euclidean electrical engineer.
Precisely. I am Thales, as well as the trusted and simple Swedish engineer on this boat.
Well, you won't be trusted anymore. Now, you going to start for that engine room, Peterson, or Thales, or whatever your name is?
I am going to Mrs. Gregory's cabin.
Oh, no, you're not. Just take one step, and I'll use this.
So, you have one of the small 60-second ray guns, eh?
You bet I have. And I know which end of it works, too.
You would be doing a very foolish thing to use that on me. G47 would not regard your act as particularly friendly to Euclidia.
Well, something tells me you're not going to be in any too good with G47 after he hears about this trip. We were supposed to be allowed to reach the Magic Island in safety. And you're sure not helping us along any.
I will be the judge of what G47 will think of this trip.
Well, in just about 5 seconds, you won't be the judge of anything. Let him have it, Jim. Good boy, Jimmy. You sure laid him out.
It is written when frying pan hit head was in wrong place.
Well, you sure know what to do with a frying pan besides cooking it.
It is a poor skillet which will not serve two masters.
Well, I saw you sneaking up on him, but I was afraid you'd never make it before he turned around.
Jim Lowe do not care which way head is looking when frying pan falls. If he look too quick, I drop pan quick.
Well, you sure did a good job. Now run down the engine room and tell Captain Bradford to get up here quick.
Maybe more better let skillet fall on head one more time. Then this fellow boy will not wake up too soon.
Oh, he won't wake up too soon. The way he hit that deck, I'll be surprised if he wakes up before we get to the island. Now, you run and get the captain. He'll know what to do from here on in.
You take fry pan. If he put head up, you put it down again.
Okay, Jim. Mighty good idea to have this in my hand at that.
I go now. Get Captain Bradford. Remember, Jerry, if head come up, pan go down.
Don't worry, Jim. I'll drop it.
Well, Jerry, we've been waiting for you to call us to breakfast, and... Why, Jerry, what's this?
Oh, this is the frying pan from the galley.
Did you hit Peterson with it?
Not yet.
Well, what's happened?
Well, the Chinese cook let this pan fall on Peterson's head, and he pushed it a little bit as it fell.
Jim Lowe knocked the engineer unconscious with that frying pan?
He sure did, but that's only part of the story. Peterson's is Staley's.
Are you sure, Jerry?
Oh, he got so mad when I couldn't let him come to your cabin that he forgot to talk like a Swede and sound just like G47.
Then the warning of that girl submarine commander was correct.
Well, I'll say it was. And I think this guy was coming to wreck our boat.
But if he'd done that, he would have gone down with the rest of us.
Well, I guess he figured on the submarine saving him. He didn't believe me when I told him he was in plenty bad with old G47.
There's no doubt about that. But, Jerry, where's Jim Lowe now and Captain Bradford?
Well, the captain went down to the engine room, and I sent Jim down there to get him. Here he comes now.
All right, Jim. You stay there until I get back. Coming right up, Jerry. Everything all right here?
Well, sure is. There's your engineer.
Tex, from what Jerry tells me, I gather that Jim Lowe is the hero of the hour.
Yes, he is, and he knows it, too. He had to explain to me just how he hit Peterson with it. And he said the sound of the frying pan on Pete's head was music to his ears, like the stroke of a big temple gong.
It did make a swell bong when he hit him.
And Peterson was really Thales.
Looks like it.
Well, what'll we do with him?
Only one thing to do that I can see. Tie him up and sit on him until we get to the island.
Well, I don't like the idea of having to watch that guy for days and days. He's too slick.
I think you're right, Jerry. It would be hard to keep as clever a man as that prisoner on this boat for long.
Say, wait a minute. I've got it. Jerry.
Yes, sir?
Go in the radio room. You and Joe and Ray's the girl commander on the submarine that's towing us. Ask her what to do with this fellow. She'll know fast enough.
Well, good idea. She ought to be told about this anyway.
Yes, she's certainly entitled to the information. After all, it was her warning that allowed us to be prepared for this.
No doubt of it. Run along, Jerry. Have a talk with that girl in the sub. Then you and Joan come back here and we'll see about some breakfast.
Well, can Jim cook it without his frying pan?
You can leave the pan here with us. Just now, Jim's looking for the lost pieces of the motors.
The lost pieces?
Yes, I'm afraid Pete, or rather Thales here, took some of the vital parts off the motors and threw them overboard.
Nice little fella he is. Well, here's your frying pan. And if Jim's still busy when we get back, Joan and I'll cook the breakfast.
Well, call that sub as quick as you can.
Aye, aye, sir.
Who is it?
Jerry, can I come in?
One moment until I unlock the door. Come in, Jerry.
Boy, have I got the news.
What is it?
Shut that door and let's get this radio set started.
The radio is ready to use now, Jerry. What is your news?
Well, you'll hear it if you listen when I tell it to the girl submarine commander.
Jerry, you have found Thales.
I'll say we have.
Where?
Lying on the deck.
You found him there?
No, I left him there.
How did he get there?
Jim Lowe put him there with a frying pan.
A frying pan?
Yes, sir, a frying pan. Now, keep quiet. Let me call this girl submarine commander on the sub.
But, Jerry, are you sure
I say keep quiet and let me use this radio. Captain Bradford's orders, and he said to hurry it up.
Very well.
Calling Commander S1, Jerry Hall on Gregory Boat to Commander S1. Hello, submarine. Gregory Boat to Euclidean submarine. Hello, Commander.
S1
Hello.
to Jerry Hall. You may proceed, Hall. Proceed with your message.
First thing is, will you please slow down to 25 knots? We can't stay in the water much longer at this speed. We'll be up in the clouds.
Will curtail speed to accommodate proper towing of your craft in smooth water. Proceed with balance of message.
We found Thales.
Proceed with your message.
Well, gee whiz. Aren't you surprised? I said we found Thales. Thales.
I understood you. Proceed with your message.
Oh, golly whiskers. You might get excited about it.
It is what I warned you to expect. You are wasting time, Hall. Proceed.
Hurry up, Jerry.
Okay. Well, we found out that our engineer, a fellow Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford have known for years, was really Thales. He sure sounded Swedish enough until he got mad at me. Then he sounded like old G47. Our Chinese cook knocked him out with a frying pan, and we want to know what to do with him.
He will be returned to Euclidia as a prisoner. G47 will deal with him.
Yeah, we figured that, but we're not sure we can hold him that long. There's nothing on board this boat that was made to keep a guy like that prisoner.
I will accept the responsibility of his delivery to G47. Prepare your landing stage on the starboard side. I will rise to the surface and take the prisoner aboard the submarine. You will arrange to deliver him to me at once. That is all.
Okay, Commander. We'll have him ready.
I am so glad we will not have him aboard this boat.
So am I. There goes the Magnus. She's dropped her anchor chain, and in about a minute the nose of her sub will be sticking up out of the water. Come on, Joan. We've got to get ready to turn Thales over to her.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Buck Rogers is on the air, brought to you by the makers of Popsicle, Fudgicle, and Creamsicle, those delicious frozen confections on a stick. And now a message from the famous fellow who won the contest for the typical American boy, Popsicle Pete.
Say, kids, seems like everybody's saving bags from Popsicle, Creamsicle, and Fudgicle and getting the dandiest free gifts. Get a free gift list in your ice cream store. It's full of colored pictures of the presents.
Everybody loves Popsicle, Creamsicle, and Fudgicle on the handy stick. Are they good? So pure, so delicious, so downright refreshing.
Gee, you're making my mouth water.
Now they're full of energy, too, and a great big one costs only 5 cents.
The biggest nickel's worth I ever saw.
And remember, everything that goes into these great big luscious confections is the freshest and the finest. The kind of ingredients Mother uses in her own kitchen. Eat Popsicle, Fudgicle, and Creamsicle as often as you like. They help make you strong, but be sure you get the genuine. Look for the name Popsicle, Creamsicle, or Fudgicle printed on every bag.
Save bags for free gifts every day. Save your gift list, too. It's got a coupon on it worth 10 bags.
Well, now with Kane and Ardela established in the headquarters at the ruins of ancient Philadelphia, with Black Barney under the influence of the psychic restriction ray, things promise to be pretty exciting. But let's first pick up Buck and Wilma aboard their rocket plane as it roars along on its way to Dr. Hewer's laboratory in Niagara. Here we go, 500 years into the future.
Doggone it, Wilma, I certainly wish I knew why Dr. Hewer insisted we turn around and fly back to his laboratory this way.
I know it, Buck. Just when we were beginning to get somewhere in our hunt for Black Barney.
Right. That was a good, strong rocket trail we were following, too. And there was no question about it being his.
Unless Killer Kane took that ship away from him.
Wilma, that's a greater possibility than I care to admit. Yes, sir, you'll never convince me that Barney had run off with an experimental ship that way unless somebody forced him into it.
And who could it be but Killer Kane?
Right. And that's why I hated to leave the hot rocket trail we were following.
Dr. Hewer knew we were on that trail, didn't he?
Sure. I had Central Radio Bureau tell him we were.
Then he must have something mighty important up his sleeve to make us turn back this way.
Yeah. Well, we'll be at his laboratory in a couple of minutes now and find out what it's all about.
Buck.
Yeah?
Why not radio to him? Plenty of time to do it before we land.
Sure. Here, you take over the controls while I do it, will you, please?
Surely.
Only you'd better keep cutting down on the power or we'll fly on by Niagara before we know it.
Hey, I should say so. Do you know how fast we're traveling?
How fast?
A little over 1,200 miles an hour.
Phew. That is stepping along, isn't it?
You bet it is. Out in space with no air friction to heat up the hull or slow us down, it would be like crawling along. Down here within the atmosphere, it's going some.
Yeah. Well, you take care of navigation while I make this call.
Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut down the power. There.
Calling V121. Buck Rogers calling V121.
Of course, he may not have got back to his laboratory yet, Buck. Central Radio Bureau said he had just started when we talked to them.
Well, calling V121.
Hello, Buck. Did you get my message through Central Radio?
Why, yes, Doctor. And we're on our way into you now.
Good. Well, then why are you calling?
Oh, just to find out what this is all about. We were hot on Barney's rocket trail,
Yes,
and...
yes, I know, Buck.
Well, yes, sir, and that trail was so fresh the gas analyzer pointers were fairly popping off the dials.
But, Buck, I have an idea that finding Barney is going to be far more difficult than simply following up his rocket trail.
Sure, Doctor, but it's the first thing for us to do in any case.
No. So the first thing for you to do is come back here to my laboratory.
But why, sir?
Tell you when you get back here. Now, come along.
Okay. We'll be there in a minute.
Signing off.
Signing off.
In a minute is right. Want to take over the controls?
Yeah, thanks. We can start coasting to a landing in about 2 shakes.
Well, take it easy. This ship isn't equipped with the gyrocosmic relativator, you know.
I wish it was. Poor old Barney and Willie thought they were doing us a favor when they took off in the ship that was equipped with one. And right now it'd be mighty handy to have it aboard here.
Well, here we are.
Yep. Hang on for landing. Now, let's go.
Right with you. Oh, hello, Doctor. Here we are.
Oh, come right in here, you two.
Right, sir.
Your radio call held me up a bit, but I'm finished with this thing in a minute.
Oh, Doctor, it's the gyrocosmic relativator. Don't tell me Black Barney and Willie came back here.
Yes, Doctor. When did they bring it back?
They didn't. This is a brand new one.
Oh, I thought it'd take weeks to put one of these things together, and that you'd need impenetrite from Pluto.
Well, I used a few scraps I was able to salvage in the main power room of the Central Radio Bureau.
Yeah?
I've been spending every minute working on this.
Well, I'm beginning to see the light. You had us come back here so we could install this on our ship before continuing the search for Barney and Willie.
Exactly. As long as his ship is so equipped, yours must be too. And Buck.
Yeah?
I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm of the opinion that Kane and Ardela must have something to do with the disappearance of Barney and Willie.
We certainly agree with you on that, sir.
Yes. There, now.
Great day. You must have done some fast work on this thing.
Yes. And under a real handicap in the limited amount of impenetrite at my disposal.
What about the reports of impenetrite ore out near the city of Omaha?
Yeah, I've heard about that too, Doctor.
Yes, but the ore is so poor that an entirely new means of reduction must be developed to really make it worthwhile.
Worth investigating, though.
Well, I'm going to look into it at the very first opportunity. Meanwhile, our only sure source is the far-off planet Pluto.
We can't very well afford to lose this relevator, then, can we?
No, sir.
But is there anything I can do to help you there?
I'll fit the photoelectric cell unit into place, will you, please?
Yeah, sure. Goes right in front of this gear system unit, doesn't it?
That's right. You'll have to use the power vise to fit them together.
Okay. But how about fastening them?
Oh, molecular tension will take care of that because of the extreme care with which they've been machined. Go right ahead and put them into the vise.
Yes, sir.
Help you carry, Buck?
No, thanks. I can make it.
There we are. Be sure the sections are accurately lined up before you try to fit them.
Yeah, they're in perfect alignment. And here goes the vise that'll make the gyrocosmic relativator that'll help run down Kane and Ardela.
Well, Barney, how do you feel now? The psychic restriction ray isn't so bad, is it?
It's marvelous, Chief. Just leave it on for a couple of hours or two more, will you?
Sounds to me as though he's had plenty, Kay.
Right, Ardela. You can turn it off.
All right.
All right. Get up now, Barney.
Yeah. Thanks, Chief. I certainly appreciate your letting me get exposed to it. Yeah.
Then perhaps you can be of some help to us now, eh?
Oh, I'll try awful hard, Chief.
That's the stuff. What we ought to do, Ardela, is get hold of Rogers and put him under the psychic restriction ray.
Not a bad idea.
Dumb as he is, I think he might really be of some use to us. Well, from now on, we've got to take it easy and carefully plan everything we're going to do. Now, Barney.
Huh? Yeah, Chief.
Go out to where we've buried the rocket ship that has the gyrocosmic relativator on it.
Okay.
Take along a non-recoil energy projector so you can push the dirt and rocks away from the door of it and get aboard.
And then what?
Then take out the radio and bring it in here. But be sure you leave the path to the door of that rocket ship clear.
How come?
I want that ship to be ready for immediate takeoff. just as soon as it gets dark.
Okay, Chief, I'll do it right away. How about bringing the ship up out of its hole onto the level ground?
Not much. That would leave it in plain sight of anybody who might be flying around looking for us.
Oh, yes.
Having that natural waterfall out there to cover up the entrance to this headquarters is a real help.
Yes, and right here in this old laboratory of Professor Smith's, we have all the scientific apparatus we could possibly want, Adela. Our setup is perfect.
Well, what are we going to do with it?
Before anything else, Adela, we must send Barney out after supplies and equipment.
Whoa there, Kane. Wouldn't it be much safer for you to go?
Not by a long shot. The minute anyone in this country saw me on the loose, every radio in America would start buzzing. But Barney's all right. People are used to seeing him around, and no matter what he might be doing, nobody would try to interfere with him.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Of course I am. The only thing he'll have to do is stay clear of Niagara, where they know he's missing.
Yeah, so far as that's concerned, though, they probably know he's disappeared in every city of the country.
Adela, you seem to forget that our friend Barney is Prime Minister of Mars in his spare time. They wouldn't dare broadcast news of his disappearance in this day and age.
Okay. What are you going to have him do?
Go into a bunch of small towns and pick up all the weapons he can find. And bring us a good, fast space cruiser.
What would he do with the ship we have now?
Bring it along, too. It's equipped with magnetic grapples, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then all he needs to do is pick out a likely-looking battle cruiser, clamp onto it with the grapples, and bring it back here.
How about the chances of his rocket trail being picked up?
No chance. That ship carries a rocket dampener, which I hooked in. It'll leave such a faint trail that the wind will blow it away within a few minutes. Isn't as though he were flying out in space, you know, where there's no wind and a rocket trail stays put.
Okay. But don't you think this business of taking a lot of weapons from small towns is dangerous? Suppose somebody sees him taking them and gets suspicious.
Then all he needs to do is doff his flying helmet, look official, and pass some remark about being hot on the trail of Killer Kane and Adela.
And what about the chances of Barney's trying to double-cross us?
Don't worry. The psychic restriction ray has taken care of that. Well, here he is now.
And look at him. What happened to you, Barney?
I'm all right, Miss Adela. Only I got kind of wet coming through the falls.
Oh, why didn't you use a force ray to push the water aside?
Presenting the amazing interplanetary adventures of Flash Gordon. These thrilling adventures come to you as they are pictured each Sunday in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. The Comic Weekly, now printed in 32 tabloid-sized pages, each page in full 4 colors, is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. For the benefit of those who may not have heard the earlier episodes, let us explain that Flash Gordon, the internationally famous American athlete, and Dale Arden, his beautiful American sweetheart, and Dr. Zarkov, the well-known scientist, were thrown onto the new planet Mongo when their experimental rocket ship crashed. After a series of adventures with the Emperor, Ming the Merciless, and his beautiful daughter Aura, who fell deeply in love with Flash, the two Americans, together with Dr. Zarkov, soon Prince of the Lion Men, and Prince Baron, were sentenced to the prison city of the Hawkmen. There the men were tortured, while King Voltan, mighty ruler of the Hawkmen, made plans to marry Dale. Flash and his companions escaped from the torture chambers, and Flash found Dale in time to save her from the marriage. But they were trapped by soldiers and again fell into Voltan's hands. Then there was a terrible rumbling sound. The floor started to tip, the walls began to crack open, and the lights went out. Now we continue the story. In the crumbling palace of Voltan, amid the shouts of the disorganized guards, Flash and Dale break away, but the mighty king flies into the air and, hurling himself on Flash, drags him to the floor and prepares to execute him by his own hand. Meanwhile, Dr. Zarkov and Prince Baron are rushing toward the throne room.
My scheme works, Baron. Now to drive our bargain with Voltan if we are not too late.
The light beam is diffusing at the present rate, friend Zarkov. The city will remain in midair only for another half hour.
If Voltan will listen to us, there is enough time. But we must not waste a minute. Here we are at the throne room.
Look. Voltan has his sword at Flash Gordon's throat.
Stop! Stop! Wait!
Hey, who dares give me orders?
I do. I can save your city. But if you harm Flash Gordon, I'll doom this city and all of you Hawkmen to destruction.
But all my radium's gone. You destroyed that yourselves. How can you save us?
Since Baron and I have been experimenting with other atom rays.
Experimenting. Enough of this. I should have killed Flash Gordon but for your arrival and bluff. Now I shall finish the job.
Oh, Flash, my darling.
You brave, Dale. This big windbag is bluffing now.
Bluffing, am I? I'll show you.
Listen to us, you fat fool. The city will remain suspended. Only 20 minutes more. There is no time to waste.
What do you think you can do to save the city, you wizard?
We have found a way to make new light beams to hold the city safely suspended in the air.
What kind of trick is this?
It's no trick.
Then let us see what you propose to do. But what?
I will save your city on one condition.
You know when to drive a bargain, old wizard of the earth. Very well. Flash Gordon shall go free if you save my city.
You must also free Dale and Zarkov and Batten.
Absolutely.
Be quick, Wotan. The precious minutes are flying. Give us your answer.
I'll pardon you all if my city is saved.
Good. Then follow me.
Where are you going to take us?
Into this private elevator first.
Where are we going, Dr. Zarkov?
Baron and I discovered a room under the hall of atom furnaces which had been stored with scientific apparatus. With the help of slaves, we constructed my newest invention, the Dintui Baron.
Yes, we did, friend Zarkov. I only hope this bull-headed monarch hasn't delayed us too long with this arguing. There isn't much time left to save the city.
We're tipping over. How much further do we have to descend?
We will be below the foundation in a moment.
What is this remarkable discovery, wizard of the earth?
You shall see. You shall see.
We're here. Hurry out, everyone.
Hold fast to my hand, Dale.
Oh, Flash, do you think Dr. Zarkov will be able to save us?
I know he'll do his best.
There is my invention.
What is that mass of tubes and wires?
This electrical machine is an atomic light solidifier.
It will strengthen the beam?
Yes. Keep everybody back, Baron. I must have room to work.
Stand back, everybody.
Baron, do you think this machine will work?
Quiet. Professor Zarkov is throwing the switch.
What is that weird bluish light?
The new rays made by the atoms, Dale.
Why, the city seems to be getting back on an even keel.
By cow, so it is.
How is it working, friend Zarkov?
Splendid so far. The light beams supporting the city are becoming stronger and stronger.
And the city is saved?
The city is saved.
By cow, he's done it. All of you are free.
I say, you're crying.
I'm so happy we're saved.
Zarkov, come here.
He said he could do it, and he did.
Yes, King Wotan, you summon me?
Zarkov, you shall be my head scientist.
Wotan, this is more than I expect. I am grateful, deeply grateful, and appreciative of the honor.
Flash and Dale.
Yes, Impressive Majesty.
What is it, King Wotan?
As proof of our future friendship, I shall give you a royal wedding tomorrow. And tonight, we shall have a banquet to celebrate it.
Having a good time, Dale?
Wonderful time, Flash. It hardly seems possible that we should be married tomorrow. I don't dare believe it until we are actually being married.
You mustn't feel that way, Dale. It's just nerves.
Well, my friend, tomorrow will be the big day.
I'm not so sure.
Dale is just worrying about nothing, Baron.
It's almost tomorrow, Dale. What can happen now?
During the excitement of the threatened destruction of the city, the Princess Aura disappeared.
Oh, is that all that worries you? I should think you'd be glad she's not here. I am.
Well, lovebirds, are you enjoying yourselves?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Impressive Majesty.
Majesty! Majesty!
Eh? What is it?
The air fleet of Ming the Merciless is approaching the city.
Oh, this means trouble.
What did I tell you? There'll be no wedding for us tomorrow.
We'll die fighting.
No, Bosun. Let us take our chances on escaping. Give us a rocket ship.
No use, lads. They were damaged when the city tilted.
His Universal Majesty, Emperor of Mongol, Ming the Merciless.
And Princess Aura. Now there will be trouble.
Steady, Dale, darling. There'll be a way out of this.
Greeting and welcome, Emperor Ming.
So, Wotan, you have become friends with the prisoners. Turn over this Earthman to my torturers. And to me, deliver my promised bride, Dale Arden. I command it.
No, Father. You promised Flash Gordon to me as my share of the spoils.
Old Ming, by the ancient laws of Mongo, by the sacred laws of the Great Cow, who is all-wise. I call for a tournament of death.
A tournament? And this fellow Flash Gordon would enter?
Yes.
Fine sport. A tournament. And all the planet will see him fail and die. So be it.
Between four mountains nestled a mammoth bowl-shaped arena, toward which most of Mongo pours in never-ending streams. It is the day of the start of the Tournament of Death, in which all of the contestants but one will meet death. And Flash Gordon is going to enter. He and Dale occupy seats of honor in Voltan's box. Princess Aura enters the arena on a golden throne carried by 6 blue dragon men.
Here comes Aura in all her glory.
She's wild, treacherous, and cruel. But my boy, she's up to you, Dave.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Here comes Ugrid, king of the lion men.
The dragon men are frightened by the lions. They've dropped the princess.
Oh, stay where you are, my boy. Prince Baron is already picking her up.
She seems to be smiling at him. I wonder what...
Prince Baron, you have saved my life. Why did you do it after the way I've treated you?
Because, my princess, you are a woman, a beautiful woman, and I can no longer deny the fact that I love you.
But whatever it is he's saying, I wish he'd get interested in somebody else and leave you alone, Flash.
The tournament is about to begin, Flash. There's your horse. Here, take this sword, my boy. It's the one with which I became king of the Hawkmen. Take it and justify my faith in you.
And my faith, too.
Thanks, darling. And thank you, Voltan. I'll do my best.
In another box, Prince Baron reaches a decision.
Zarkov, I'm going to enter the tournament, win back my kingdom, and Ming's daughter, Princess Aura, for my bride.
Do not be a fool, Prince Baron. Why run the risk of being killed?
Wish me luck, my friend. I go to do battle.
The battle royal with every horseman for himself. As the fight rages around him, Flash is beset by 2 yellow guardsmen. He vanquishes one, and as he is attacked by the other, he falls from his horse. Before the yellow man can drive home a death thrust, a masked fighter saves Flash, and the first great test of the Tournament of Death ends. A banquet is held for the survivors.
Are you sure you're all right, Flash?
Why, of course, Dale.
If it hadn't been for that masked fighter, you would be dead now. Oh, why did you enter this horrible tournament?
To win freedom, a kingdom, and what's more important, you.
My dear. Look, the masked fighter is with Princess Aura.
Ah, the masked champion. Are you a criminal fearing arrest or a noble fearing recognition?
Blue blood, or red, my lady. It will flow in the arena just as freely. For your amusement.
Yes. Wear the scarf as a token. But do not stain it with your blood.
Fair lady, a kiss from your gorgeous lips, and I would face the legions of Tau.
Insolent one. I'll have you tortured.
Who can punish the living dead of the tournament? Goodbye, you beautiful devil. I go to fight for your hand.
That masked champion. I swear I know his voice. The call has sounded. I must go back to the fight. Goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, and good luck, my darling. Oh, King Wotan, when will this awful tourney end?
I know it seems horrible to you, little bird, but it is better that Flash should die honorably in the field of battle than at the hands of Ming's torturers. If he wins this final event, he will be a king, and you will be his queen.
The trumpets blow and the last contestants line up. 2 by 2, they mount the sky rope stretched over a flaming pool to joust with swords. And one after another, they are eliminated by death. Finally, only Flash Gordon and the masked champion are left. Flash loses his balance and falls down toward the flaming pool, but his hands catch hold of the rope and he hangs on. The masked champion, thrown off balance, also falls, but saves himself by grasping Flash Gordon's leg. His mask falls off, revealing Prince Baron. The crowd demands that both men shall live, and they are brought before Voltan and Ming the Merciless.
None of your trickery, Ming. Proclaim them both kings.
So be it. But I shall choose their kingdoms. To Prince Barin and my daughter Aura, I give the kingdom of the forest. To Flash Gordon and the Earth Girl, I give the kingdom of the cave.
You fiend! You know neither kingdom has been conquered.
True, Voltan. But these are brave men. Let them try. They can hold their weddings in their own kingdoms if they live that long.
What will happen to Flash Gordon when he attempts to rule over the unconquered kingdom of the cave? You'll know next week at the same time when he'll be back with another chapter of the amazing interplanetary adventures of Flash Gordon. And by the way, what is your favorite picture feature? Bringing Up Father, Skippy, the Katzenjammer Kid, The Little King, Mickey Mouse? Or if you like thrills, then Ace Drummond or Jungle Jim, Radio Patrol or Red Barry. But no matter whatever your favorite, you'll find it next Sunday in the big 32-page comic weekly, along with Toots and Casper, Tilly the Toiler, Little Annie Rooney, Tim Tyler's Luck, and many others. For the big 32-page comic weekly brings you each Sunday the funniest merrymakers and the most daring adventurers in the world of pictures. Be sure to get your copy of the comic weekly next Sunday with your Hearst Sunday newspaper. And listen for the amazing interplanetary adventures of Flash Gordon next week on this station.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. And today, as the kryptonite glows relentlessly beside the unconscious form of the Man of Steel far below the sea, his friends at the Daily Planet are beginning to worry about the man they know as Clark Kent. To prove to Superman's four deadliest enemies that a fragment of the shattered planet Krypton could make them masters of the Man of Steel, the Scarlet Widow set a trap for Superman in her penthouse apartment. In a desperate attempt to recover the kryptonite, which robs him of all his strength when he comes within 10 feet of it, Superman appeared at the apartment. Although he remained a safe distance from the main fragment of kryptonite, tiny particles planted around the room caused him to lose consciousness. Placing Superman in a large cedar chest, together with a small piece of the deadly kryptonite, the Scarlet Widow had the chest taken 2 miles out to sea and dropped overboard. As we continue now, the following morning, Lois Lane has just entered the office of Editor Perry White at the Metropolis Daily Planet. Listen.
Chief, this is serious. Clark is missing.
Ah, nonsense, Lois,
Then
nonsense.
where is he? He hasn't been seen since the night before last. He hasn't been in his apartment either. Jim and I were there yesterday and again this morning. His bed hasn't even been slept
So
in.
what? Kent's probably out playing detective.
Detective.
Sure. He's never happy unless he's making like Sherlock Holmes.
Now, listen.
He must be trying to find that piece of kryptonite or whatever they call it that was stolen from the Metropolis Museum.
I-
Now stop worrying about him. Kent acts like a screwball pretty often, but he can take care of himself.
But where is he? He's never been gone so long without getting in touch with us.
Will you stop asking me where he is? How do I know?
Well, you don't have to bite my head off just because you're worried.
Who's worried?
You are, and you know it. I think we ought to call Inspector Henderson.
Are you out of your mind? Kent isn't a baby, and besides, Henderson's got his hands full hunting for the Vulture and the Teufel and Papa Rouse and the Laugher and... what's that?
Your intercom.
Don't you think I know what it is?
Will you...
Yes, Miss Backrack.
Inspector Henderson just called Mr. White.
He did? Well, put him on. Come on. What are you waiting for?
He isn't on the line. He just gave me a message for you and hung up. He said he was in a hurry.
Oh, well, what was the message?
He said he hasn't been able to find any trace of Mr. Kent.
No, he hasn't,
No, sir. But he said Mr. Kent had been at police headquarters last night with Captain Donovan.
Donovan?
Yes, sir. Inspector Henderson said that Olson had spoken with Captain Donovan and was on his way here now.
Olson? Jimmy Olson? Oh, okay, that's fine. Send him in as soon as he shows up.
Yes, sir.
You hear that, Lois? Kent was at police headquarters last night and...
Yes, I heard. So you did call Inspector Henderson after all.
Huh?
Oh, you told me you weren't worried about Clark.
No, Well, I had to talk to Henderson anyhow about those 4 crooks who broke out of jail, and, I just happened to mention Kent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where's Olson? Headquarters is only 5 minutes from here, and I suppose he had to stop and get the baseball scores.
I'm sure he didn't, Chief. Jim's just as worried about Clark as we are. As a matter of fact, I think he's
there you are. There you are, Olson. Come in.
Hello, Mr. White. Hello, Miss Lane.
Hello, Jim.
Never mind the greetings. Never mind. Now, just tell us what Captain Donovan told you.
Well, how did you know?
Never mind how I know. A little bird told me. An elephant told me. Will you stop wasting time and start talking?
Well, sure, if you'll give me a chance. Mr. Kent was at police headquarters last night, trying to get Captain Donovan to help him look for the kryptonite.
There. You see, Lois?
Donovan told Mr. Kent he was crazy.
And he's right.
Especially when Mr. Kent said he was sure the theft of the kryptonite was tied up with the jailbreaks of De Teufel, the Vulture, Papa Rausch, and the Laugher.
Well,
Kent said that?
Uh-huh. And then he got a phone call. Captain Donovan didn't know who it was from, but when Mr. Kent hung up, his face was white as a sheet, Donovan said. Then he told Donovan that Superman would either come to police headquarters with the kryptonite in an hour, or else he'd probably never be seen again.
What?
Jim, that's what Mr. Kent said. He went right out. Gosh, I'm worried. Where do you suppose he went? And what did he mean about Superman never being seen again?
He didn't mean anything. He was just trying to sound important.
Well, Mr. Kent's no four-flusher.
I can't understand. Good heavens.
Huh?
What, Lois?
Clark might have fallen into the Vulture's trap, or De Teufels, or the Laughers, or Papa Roach.
What are you talking about? What trap?
Now, Chief, Clark had a hand in sending all 4 of those terrible men to jail.
Yes.
And don't you remember at their trials, each one swore that he'd get Clark?
Oh, jeepers, that's right. Golly, Miss Lane, you think they got Mr. Kent?
No, there's no reason to think so. Kent was on the trail of the kryptonite.
If they were after him, they knew that. And so they could have set a trap for him using the kryptonite and maybe even Superman as bait. And poor Clark just walked into it. That would explain his telling Captain Donovan last night that if Superman wasn't there with the kryptonite in an hour, he might never be seen again.
Yeah, and Superman didn't show up, and neither did Mr. Kent. Gee whiz, what do we do?
Well, no. The thing to do is not to lose our heads. I'll get in touch with Inspector Henderson.
No. What we've got to do is to contact Superman.
Superman?
Yeah,
how in the world...
that's it, Miss Lane. Superman can find Mr. Kent, and it would be only fair, too, seeing how Mr. Kent got in trouble trying to help him.
Oh, wonderful. Just pick up the phone, Olson, and give Superman a ring.
Oh, yeah. How are we going to contact him?
Well, once, when I needed him, I broadcast from our radio station for Superman, and he heard me.
Say, that's right.
Remember?
And he got there just in time to save us.
Yes.
Remember, Chief? I mean, Mr. White.
No, I'll never forget it. Well, what are you waiting for, Lois? Maybe it'll work again. Come on. We'll go upstairs to the studio right now, and you can try broadcasting for him again. Maybe it'll work. Hurrying from the city room, Perry White, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen rushed to the radio studio on the roof of the Daily Planet, where, at a command from White, the news program is interrupted so that Lois, standing before the microphone, can broadcast an appeal for Superman.
Superman. Calling Superman, wherever you are. Clark Kent is in danger and needs you. He's in danger because he tried to help you. So please help him now. Superman. Calling Superman. Please contact the Daily Planet at once.
Again and again, Lois Lane sends her SOS for Superman out over the airwaves, little knowing that at this very moment, Superman, who is Clark Kent, lies unconscious in a large cedar chest weighted with stones and a piece of the green, glowing, eerily humming kryptonite at the bottom of the sea. The powerful tide catches at the chest and rolls it over, then drags it along the sandy, pebbly bottom, turns it again and again and again, as in some grim, ironic game. We'll return in a moment for the dramatic climax of today's episode. But first, let's hear from our good friends.
Say, gang, if you let today go by without sending for your sundial wristwatch, the one Kellogg's Pep is putting out, well, you'll be missing out on something mighty swell. In the first place, this timepiece is so doggone good-looking, you'll want to wear it all day long. The dial's made of shiny aluminum, about as big around as a regular wristwatch, and there's a handy strap to hold it flat to your wrist. You'll use it often to tell time to the sun. All you do is lift the pointer on the dial and aim it due north. The sun's rays will make the shadow of the pointer fall on the dial, and that's the hour of the day. You don't want to be without this sundial wristwatch when you go on hikes or on scouting patrol or when you go to club meetings. Now, this is the very last day I'll be telling you about this wristwatch. So send in for yours today. First, ask Mom to get a couple of packages of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Tear off the 2-box tops. Be sure you get the ones marked top. And send them along with 10 cents in cash and your name and address clearly printed to Superman, Box 157, Battle Creek, Michigan. It's your last chance. It's hurry, 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 gang. Send for your modern sundial wristwatch today from P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. North of Metropolis, on the beach before a small, rough shack made of old boat planks, a fisherman and his daughter are drying their nets as the powerful surging tide comes in. In the distance, beyond the black rocks, a brewing storm darkens the afternoon sky. The fisherman is bent and weather-beaten. His daughter Abigail is about 16, dressed in overalls, her hair free and flowing, her feet bare.
Big storm brewing out there, Pa.
Yep. Ain't gonna have these nets dry before that storm blows the rain in, Abby. Yeah, might as well leave them.
All right, Pa. I'll go in and cook supper then. Oh, look out there.
Yeah, look at what?
Right out there by the sandbar. Some kind of a box the tide blew it in.
Yeah, sure enough. Stuck on the bar, she is.
Pa, let's go get it. Might be something good in it.
What are you talking about, Abby? Take a chance in that riptide count of some worthless old box?
Oh, I'm not afraid, Pa. Might be something fine in it. Like some nice dresses I could wear, maybe.
Yeah, nonsense.
Oh, you can't be sure, Pa. There might be something in it we could use. Oh, we could use a lot of things.
Yeah, that we can, Abby. A young girl like you should have pretty things. But you ain't going to find them in that old box.
We could drag it in and look.
Yeah, ain't worth the risk, I tell you. You know as well as I do how strong that riptide is. Besides, look at that storm building up from the north. Might hit us before we can get back. Come on now. We'll go in and get supper.
Pa?
Yes? What now?
I'd be awful obliged if you'd go out with me and fetch back that box.
Hey, you're just like your mother was, Abby. Looking up at me so trusting like. Yeah, and figuring to twist me around to her way of thinking. Well, I'll tell you what. The tide ain't all in yet. If so be it lifts the box off from the bar so she comes in past the worst of the rip, and if the storm ain't blowed up yet when that happens, well, we'll go get the box.
But, Pa, the tide might not pick the box off the bar.
Well, you don't get it then. Nothing lost. Come on now, at the house. Get the old pie supper. And stop looking back at that box. Tell you, there ain't nothing in it worth having.
All right, Pa. Just as you say.
Reluctantly, the young girl follows her father into their shack, neither of them knowing that the fisherman has consigned Superman to the freakish will of the tide and the brewing storm. Yes, Superman is in that chest on the sandbar, and with him, the deadly kryptonite. What will happen? Is Superman still alive? Will the tide mercifully carry him beyond the sandbar into the reluctant hands of the fisherman? Or will it fail to dislodge the cedar chest and then carry it back into the fathomless sea? Which will it be? Don't miss Monday's startling episode, fellows and girls, when we learn the fate of the Man of Steel. Tune in, same time, same station, and listen to the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman, brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Publications. This is the Mutual Broadcasting. Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman. And today it would seem that the chest containing his unconscious form has been left to the whims of a merciless sea. A piece of green glowing kryptonite, a fragment of the planet on which Superman was born, has the strange power to rob the Man of Steel of all his strength when he comes within 10 feet of it. Planning to make millions by selling the mysterious metal to Superman's enemies, a woman called the Scarlet Widow stole the kryptonite from the Metropolis Museum. And when Superman made a desperate attempt to recover it, he lost consciousness. The widow placed him in a cedar chest with a small piece of the kryptonite and consigned the chest and Superman to the bottom of the sea. The incoming tide carried the chest to a sandbar near shore, where it was seen by a fisherman and his young daughter, Abby. The fisherman refused to battle a powerful riptide to rescue what he thought was a worthless box. And as we continue now, in their shack on the beach, his daughter Abby interrupts her cooking to stray to the window. Listen.
Pa?
Yeah?
I think that storm's going to blow itself out to the north.
Yeah, sounds like it might at that, Abby.
Pa?
What now?
That box is still stuck on the bar.
The tide will be all in soon. It'll lift her off.
The box might float out to the sea.
There won't be no harm done. That old box is worthless.
But, Pa, you promised if the storm didn't blow up, we'd go and get it.
I promised if so be the tide lifted her off in the bar and brought her in past the worst of the rip, which it ain't done. Now, you forget that old box, Abby, and tend to the supper you got in the stove.
All right, Pa.
Abby?
What, Pa?
You're crying.
No, I'm not, Pa.
Yes, you be. Is it just kind of that old box?
Not just.
What then?
Thinking about the party at the Grange Hall Saturday night. And now all I've got to wear is these overalls. Pa, I'm getting too big to wear overalls now, except in the boat.
You... Abby, come here.
Yes, Pa?
Abby, you know, could I get you one of them fine dresses at the store, I'd get it.
Oh, I know, Pa. It's just that...
Just what?
Oh, you're so stubborn, Pa. You say there ain't anything in that box on the bar.
There ain't.
Well, you don't know, Pa. Not for sure. Maybe there is something in it. Maybe there's dresses or money or something we can sell for. Things we need so bad, Pa.
I tell you there ain't. It's just a worthless old box. Anyone with two eyes can see it.
All right, Pa. I can't go out for it myself. I won't mention it no more, Pa.
Don't you? Dresses in that old box. Money. There ain't nothing in it, I tell you. Stop sniffling.
Yes, Pa.
You just like a woman. You, Abby, get that line off in the hook and come along.
Where, Pa?
You know where. We're going after that box.
Oh, Pa.
Yes, I'll just show you your old pa knows what he's a-saying. Now get that line and bring it to the door.
Oh, wait, Pa. Wait for me. The box is still there, Pa, ain't it?
Yep. He's stuck in the sand good. I don't like the looks of that riptide, though. Get caught in it and we ain't got a chance.
Oh, I ain't afraid. Not with you. Everyone says you're just about the best hand with a boat they ever see.
Well, I'll need to be. Good thing that storm veered off. If we can work in close to the rocks and hit the bar above the rip, there's enough water over the bar now to come down to your dratted box. It ain't going to be easy bringing it back, though.
Oh, you can do it, Pa. You can do anything.
Now you got your old pa doing what you want. He ain't no more stubborn old mule, huh?
Oh, I never called you a mule. You're just about the finest pa a girl ever had. And I'm just hoping there's something in that box for you, too, Pa.
Not even a moldy cracker, I'll bet you. Throw the line in the dory, Abby, and help me shove her into water.
All right, Pa.
Come on now. Push.
Yes.
That's it. That's the stuff.
Oh.
There we are. Now, wait for this roller, Abby.
Yeah.
Now get in. Set in the bow and be ready to push if and we pitch into the rocks.
All right, Pa. Pa?
Yep.
You figure the tide might yet pull the box into the rip?
That's might.
Then it'll smash to pieces. We'll lose it, Pa.
Won't be losing nothing.
Pa, don't say that. Hurry, Pa.
This is a job that can't be hurried. We'll be there soon enough, though. Ain't more than 30 or 40 yards. It's just the rip we got to be careful of. And them rocks. Watch sharp now, Abby. We're going to come in close.
I'm watching. Look out, Pa. that big rock.
Yes, I see it. Had to shave that one close to the rip of the head.
Oh, the box is still there.
Good thing if you'd never seen it. We're taking a fool's risk, we are, Abby.
Oh, maybe there'll be something fine in it. Oh, look.
Look at what?
The box. Kind of a green glow shining through it.
Don't mind the box. Mind them rocks.
What do you suppose makes that green glow? Look at it, Pa.
I told you. Abby, watch out.
Oh, what's the matter?
We're going to smash up on the rock.
Oh! Oh, Pa!
Abby, where are you? Abby! Abby!
Here I am, Pa!
I see you. Swim for the bar. Just ahead.
Yeah. All right.
Don't let the rip get you. Keep going straight.
I know, Pa.
You're almost there. Keep going.
Pa.
Now, don't talk. Swim. Swim straight, girl. Straight. You're almost there. Now, you feel the bar under you?
Yes, Pa.
Now, don't slip off. Don't slip off. You'll be in the rip. Grab onto the box there.
I got it.
Good. Hang on. I'll be right there.
Grab my hand, Pa. Here.
All right.
Come on.
You hang on with both hands. I can make it. Yes. It's a good thing we were so close to the bar. Hang on good to the box, Abby.
I suppose the jury smashed, Pa. I wasn't watching the rocks like you told me. Oh, how are we going to get back?
Well, we got to hope this here box stays put till the tide's all in. If so be, we can swim out of the ways and work back round the rip to shore.
Oh, if the box comes loose before the tide's all in.
Well, let's not be thinking about that.
I wish I'd never seen it so far. Ain't nothing good in it, I know. Oh, it's just a story.
Well, ain't no use taking on about that now, Abby.
Oh, I know, Pa, I'm a wicked girl. Oh!
Hey?
Oh, the box is coming loose.
And fierce he be. Hang on tight, Abby.
Oh, we're going to be swept into the river.
Hang on to the box, Abby. Hang on for your life.
Frantically, the old fisherman and his daughter Abby cling to the cedar chest in which lie the unconscious Superman and the deadly kryptonite as the powerful surging tide lifts it from the sandbar. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. But first, let's stand by for a friendly tip.
You know, gang, I got a preview of those swell new comic buttons, the new prizes in packages of Kellogg's Pep. I saw some of them this morning, and I could hardly wait for time for Superman so I could give you the big news, because I had an idea you'd be just as excited about them as I am. Think of it, 18 different buttons in real brilliant colors on sturdy metal, each one with a picture of one of your favorite comic strip characters, like Moon Mullins and K.O., Orphan Annie, her dog Sandy, and Superman, of course. 18 brand new buttons to collect and trade with your friends and wear pinned on your shirt or dress or jacket. Talk about a swell hobby. Boy, this is it. And the best part is, you don't have to send in any money for these new comic buttons, not even a box top. You can't buy them anywhere. They're an exclusive prize for you in packages of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. So ask Mom to get you some Pep tomorrow. Then see which prize you find inside. One of these nifty new comic buttons or a military insignia or warplane button. Get set to collect them all. There's one of these exciting prizes in every package of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Their dory wrecked in their effort to secure the cedar chest containing Superman, which was stuck on a sandbar. The fisherman and his young daughter Abby cling frantically to the chest as the incoming tide dislodges it and sweeps it into a savage, rushing riptide.
Hang on to the box, Abby, or you'll be pulled under.
Poor thing took us to the sea, Paul.
Just pray this old box hold together till we're out of the rip.
Paul! Paul!
Hang on to the box, I say.
Coming apart.
Oh, land of mercy she is. If she busts up, we're done for, Abby.
Oh, came out of the box.
Phosphorus in the water, likely. Hang on, Abby. Hang on.
Oh!
The box is coming to pieces. Hang on to me, Abby.
I'm dropping.
Easy, girl. Easy. I got you.
Oh, you know, good box. Oh, look. In the box. It's a man.
Land of mercy. Abby.
Oh, I'm drowning.
Fighting desperately but helplessly in the savage riptide, Abby and her father are hurled violently apart, whirled over and over, then dragged beneath the surface as the cedar chest containing the unconscious figure of Superman is ripped to shreds. What will happen to them? And to the Man of Steel? Don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls, when we learn the fate of Superman and of Abby and her father. Tune in, same time, same station, for The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman, brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Publications. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Well, Jane's niece Betty and Carl, the nephew of Mr. Race's business partner, have secretly decided to elope, in spite of the uncle's threat to cut Carl out of his will. Carl has $3,000 of his own, and today he's going to persuade Uncle Neff to buy him a car, the car in which he and Betty expect to honeymoon. This episode is in two scenes, Mr. Race's real estate office, and then to Mr. Neff's office. But first to Mr. Race, where we find Betty with her uncle.
Now, look, Betty, Mr. Neff doesn't approve of this interest you seem to have in Carl, or the interest Carl has in you.
Isn't that just too bad?
Well, it certainly is. For me, it's too bad. Because, as you know, Neff is my partner here. His prestige, his reputation, to say nothing of the money that he puts into this business. All that enabled me to put over some very big deals that I wouldn't have a chance with without him. Now, I can't do anything to antagonize the old man. And if you continue going out with his nephew, Neff's going to do something drastic.
Oh, he's been threatening you, has he?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't said a word. But I know him. That nephew of his is the apple of his eye. He told us so. He expects Carl to step into his place in the years to come.
Well, what do you want of me?
Well, I'd like to have you forget him. For the time being, anyhow.
Has it occurred to you that we might love each other?
Oh, sure. A month ago, you were in love with a 40-year-old musician.
It's just like you to bring that up.
Well, it's the truth. And this little flurry you developed over Carl is probably just like that other one.
It's no such thing. Oh, you wouldn't understand that.
Well, I understand only this, that I can't have you wrecking my business. And that's what this will amount to if you insist on going on with this.
How about wrecking my life?
Oh, wrecking your life. Your life was completely wrecked a month ago when we broke up that romance you were having with David Page.
Stop mentioning David Page in the same breath with Carl and stop shouting at me.
Well, I'm trying to show you what damage you can do if you go on with this. Mr. Neff will dissolve this partnership as sure as I'm born. I can't stand for that. I need him, and he knows it. Now, look, Betty, can't you let things kind of slide along for the time being? If I can keep this partnership going for a while, I can make enough money not to need Neff.
What do you mean, for the time being? How long?
Well, about 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years? You want me to wait 3 years?
Don't start crying. If you'll be sensible about it.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, who left that door open?
It hasn't opened. Hello, dear.
Hello.
What's the matter?
Are you very cold? Man, you miserable.
He did. Dear, how can you do a thing like that?
Like what? What did she say?
I don't know, but it sounds terrible. Now, you go ahead and let me talk to her. Go ahead there.
But I want to make her understand that my business is dependent on this, Jane.
I know, dear. That's what I came downtown for. You leave us to ALONE. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. I've got to go on anyhow. But I'm not finished with her. Now, look, Jane. You explain it to her, will you? Just what I told you last night.
I know, dear. Just leave it to me and everything's going to be honky-tonky.
Yes, that's what I'm afraid of. Well, I'll see you at dinner tonight, Jane.
Don't worry, dear. Just go ahead and be happy-go-lucky and careless. Everything's going to be all right.
Well, it better be. So long, Jane.
Goodbye, dear, and don't take any wooden Indians.
No, I won't take any wooden.
Now.
Oh, Aunt Jane, I'm so unhappy.
Unhappy? Here you've got the most marvelous fellow in love with you, and you're unhappy?
Well, what good is it if I can't love him? Uncle Ace just told me I'd wreck this whole business if I go on loving Carl.
Yes, I know. He told me about it last night, too. That's what I came here to talk to you about. You see, Betty, it's on account of Mr. Neff. He'll get awfully mad if you and Carl get married or even engaged, and he'll quit being a partner here. Then we can't make any money.
But I love him, Aunt Jane. I love him.
Mr. Neff?
No, Carl.
Oh.
And he loves me.
Well, that's what we got to talk about. Of course, you know it's going to come out all right, don't you?
What?
Of course, you know everything's going to end happily.
I don't see how.
Well, I don't either right now. But I've seen too many movies about the same thing, where the poor girl's in love with the rich boy, but his father won't let him marry the girl. Only it's the uncle here. And they come out happy every time.
But this is not a movie.
I know, but it's just like a movie. And I know it'll come out all right. You know, Betty, I didn't sleep a cent last night. I just lay awake thinking about this and all the movies I ever saw. And the more I thought of them, the surer I got that everything's going to end happily.
I don't see how his uncle is so against me.
Well, that's the way the father is in the movies. Oh, if I could only get Mr. Neff to see one of those pictures.
Oh, Aunt Jane, that's not going to help.
Well, it might. If we could take him to one, you and I.
Oh, is that the solution you thought of?
No, I thought of this just now. Of course, we won't do it. But it would be marvelous to make him see the movie. And you know what? If you could win the bingo and have a lot of money of your own...
Oh, Aunt Jane.
Well, anyhow, it's kind of cute to think about it. Of course he wouldn't go, much less you winning the bingo. Well, enough daydreaming. Now, let's talk about Carl and you. I promised your uncle last night that I'd talk to you and make you promise not to do anything rash.
What do you mean?
Well, some girls, when the boy's father or uncle won't let them get married, 9 times 10 the fellow wants to elope.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, I know you wouldn't do that, Betty, but if Carl wants to, you must say no, because that would make Mr. Neff mad. Then where would we be? We'd lose all our money. We'd be as poor as the church people.
Oh, Aunt Jane, I'm so miserable.
Well, now, you must promise me, Betty.
Doesn't anybody around here care what happens to my life?
Sure we do. You know how much I care. I'm the first one that wants you to get married. But in a case like this, with Mr. Neff and everything...
Mr. Neff, that's all I hear.
Yes, isn't it a shame? Say, I just thought of something. If Mr. Neff would say it's all right, you and Carl could get married, couldn't you?
Of course we could. But he's not going to say it's all right. He despises me.
Oh, he does now. He doesn't even know you. He's just saying you're working here. He never even talked to you, I bet. He doesn't know you can be the sweetest girl in the world, present company accepted. Say now, that's an idea. Somebody ought to talk to him.
Oh, Carl's tried it, but it's no use.
Oh, but if I try, or somebody like me, maybe he'll stop being so obsolete.
Oh, Aunt Jane, would you? I don't want to wreck your life or Carl.
Sure I will. I'll go right over there now.
Oh, Aunt Jane, I love you.
Well, don't mention it. I'll be glad to. Why didn't I think of that before? I'll go right over there.
Morning, Uncle.
Morning. Why aren't you over at that real estate office where you belong?
I've been there. I came over here to have a chat with you.
If it's about that girl, the answer is no.
Now, wait a minute, Uncle.
I won't talk about it. You've got plenty of time for that later on. I want you to spend all your time now learning the business. Don't you see, boy, I have great plans for you.
Yes, Uncle, I know, but what I wanted to ask you is if you'd buy me a car.
A car?
Yeah, I saw a snappy roadster I'd like to have.
What do you need with a car?
Well, what any fellow needs with a car.
Well, I've got 2 of them. You can use either one of them anytime you want to go anywhere.
Yes, I know, but I'd like to have one of my own. Now this roadster I saw...
I bought you roadsters when I was sending you through school. I didn't see the need of them then, but I gave in. But I certainly don't intend giving in again. The car's out.
But, Uncle, it's not asking so much.
You've got either one of my cars and a chauffeur at your disposal anytime you want it. That's good enough, isn't it?
Well, no, since you asked me.
Well, it's just too bad. I wish you'd just tell me what you need with a car of your own.
Well, what any young fellow wants with a car.
Now, I wouldn't know about that.
No, I guess you wouldn't. You were never young.
What was that?
Oh, nothing.
Now, you look here, Carl. You're 22 years old. Time you started settling down. I have great plans for you. You're the only one I've got I can leave my whole life's work to.
Well, I don't see how it'll upset your plans to buy me a car.
Stop talking about a car. The answer is no. Definitely and finally no.
Well, okay then.
Where are you going?
Back to my $25 a week job.
Well, don't you see it's not the $25 you make? I give you everything you need, don't I? My home is yours. Everything I have is yours.
Yes, everything except a measly little car.
Don't mention that car to me again. Now go on back to your work and stop talking foolishness.
Well, good morning, Mr. Neff.
What?
Oh, hello, Carl.
Hello.
Where are you going?
Back to work.
Oh, well, goodbye.
Goodbye.
What do you want, Mrs. Ace?
Well, I guess I'm a little late. I guess Carl must have been talking to you about it.
Yes, he talked to me, and the answer is no.
No, huh? Why, Mr. Neff?
Why? Why what?
Why did you say no?
Because I'm through catering to his every wish. I didn't mind it so much when he was in school. All the boys there have 'em.
Yes, but that's just a schoolboy crush. This is different.
I don't see any difference. The first one he had there was a fast little stepper. He used to take her out for drives in the country every Sunday afternoon.
He did?
Yeah, he was crazy about that one. Never missed a Sunday. And was he fast?
He was?
I was afraid she'd climb a telegraph pole.
Climb a Oh, now, you're just fooling, aren't you?
Fooling? I'll say I'm not. I saw her. I made him give her up. Later, he got another one. He had about 4 of them altogether.
4?
Yes, a new one every year he went to school, but I think he liked the second one best. Oh, she was a mess. Shabby, never kept her paint. She had a red hood. He kept writing me about that one. He called her Redhead.
Redhead?
Yes, he was proud of that little rascal. All his friends were stuck on that one, too.
They were?
Sure. Carl's big-hearted that way.
I'll say the world he is.
Yeah. That was the happiest year of his life, I guess, that second year. But as he got older, he got more settled in his taste. Why, his last year, he was so dignified, he gave up the flashy ones.
Well, I should think he would.
Yes, very sedate and dignified, but still fast.
Mr. Neff, are you talking about Carl?
What?
Is this the truth you're telling me about Carl, or are you just trying to scare us with those stories so we won't let Betty have anything to do with him? Is that it?
Betty? Are you talking about that girl again?
Yes, but if this is true about Carl, well, I don't know.
If what's true about Carl?
What you've just been telling me.
Of course it's true.
Oh, you're just making it up, aren't you?
Making it up? It cost me plenty of money. I ought to know.
Oh, a siren, huh?
Yes, one of them had one.
Had one?
Yes, one of them did.
Did what?
Had a siren on it.
Had a siren? Just a minute now, Mr. Neff. You're getting a little mixed up. You mean one of them was a siren, don't you?
Was a siren? Had a siren. One of the cars had a siren.
Cars? What cars?
The automobiles he had when he went to school.
Automobile? Are you talking about automobiles?
Am I talking about... Of course I'm talking about automobiles.
Well, you could knock me down with a fender, Mr. Neff.
What?
Whew, that's a relief off my mind. I thought you were talking about...
Well, at least Jane and Mr. Neff are on the same subject now. But we don't think she'll have much luck in changing the old man's mind. We'll learn more about her attempt when next we meet the Easy Ace.
Rice Chex and Wheat Chex, the bite-sized cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are climbing a steep mountain on the planet Venus in pursuit of a criminal.
We're on his trail, all right, Commander. See? Here's where he dug a foothold.
Watch your step, Happy. It's a 2,000-foot drop if you slip.
I think I'd better rest a minute, sir. I'm getting dizzy. Everything's getting dark.
I noticed the same thing, but it's not dizziness. My head's perfectly clear.
Hey, look at the sun. I can hardly see it. It must be an eclipse.
Venus doesn't have a moon. There can't be an eclipse.
Smoke and rockets. It's pitch dark.
This is Vogan's work. He's got the blackout beam on us. If we try to move another inch in this darkness, we'll drop into the chasm.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Serpent of Saturn. Here he comes, gang. Here he comes. The fastest boy on roller skates in the neighborhood. Get up and go, and look at him go. Wow! Now, there's a space patroller who really has it. He just got up from a good, nourishing breakfast. Just finished off a big bowl of rice checks with plenty of milk and sugar. He's packed full of action energy, the kind of action energy that'll help to make you a whizzer on rollers and help make you so alert that you can come up with the right answers in your classroom. Yes, sir, Space Patrollers, you start off any day ready for action when you eat a whopping good breakfast with rice checks. Because Rice Chex is tops for get up and go. Tops for taste, too. A delicious triple toasted shredded rice treat that's good with milk or cream and super good with fruit. And tops for size because it's bite size. The just right size for easy eating. So, gang, try Rice Chex yourself. And try Wheat Chex, that wonderful, wonderful whole wheat cereal. Rich in energy, swell tasting, and bite size. So don't forget Chex, rice, or wheat. It's tops three ways. For taste, for size, for get up and go. Look for them in the red and white checkerboard packages with the picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the front and the neat free Space Patrol trading card inside. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Serpent of Saturn. Ordinarily, the appearance of the monthly Space Patrol Bulletin is a routine event. It causes no excitement, except perhaps among the officers and men of the publication section who are charged with the responsibility of preparing this official monthly report on Space Patrol activities. But this time, there is considerable interest in the document by every level of command. In his central office at Space Patrol Headquarters on Terra, Commander Corey frowns and shakes his head as he examines a copy of the bulletin. Cadet Happy, returning from an errand in another part of headquarters, fails to notice the commander's unusually serious manner.
Gee, Commander, everybody's sure studious all of a sudden. All over headquarters, people are reading the bulletin, even the file clerks. I guess the editors added a page of jokes.
There's certainly nothing funny in this issue of the bulletin, Happy.
Sorry, sir.
Especially in the Secretary General's notes in the margin of this copy.
Something wrong?
Plenty.
Those robberies, is that it?
Partly, but it's more than that. Do you realize that in the past 10 days there have been 23 cases of assaults against space patrollers? And all apparently without reason.
I heard about a couple of them, sir. One on Venus and another one on Pluto.
Well, if we hadn't been so busy on Neptune the past week, I'd have alerted our men to take special precautions. Now, take a look at this breakdown here in the bulletin.
All over the solar system. Lowell City, Jupiter City, the Lunar Fleet.
And in every case, our men were the victims of unprovoked assaults. Jumped from ambush, beaten.
But why?
Well, I think it's part of a carefully organized attempt to demoralize the Space Patrol.
You mean some sort of a gang is behind it, Commander?
Yes. Looking at each incident individually, one might think that a group of hoodlums just decided to gang up on a Space Patroller.
Uh-huh.
When you put them all together, a rather interesting coincidence shows up. You notice whenever a beating occurred, a robbery followed within a day or two in the same locality.
Oh, then you think the gang behind the robberies is also behind the beatings?
Yeah, it's about the size of it, Happy. Apparently, the plan is this, to try to get our agents concerned about their own personal safety and reduce their efficiency.
Well, if it keeps on like this, it might work.
We're not going to let it. This gang has succeeded so far because it's well organized and evidently has spies in high places.
What's the plan, sir?
Well, the last attack on space patrollers occurred in Jupiter City at the spaceport, right?
Yes, sir. Those two off-duty pilots. Oh, you mean if they follow the pattern, the gang may be planning a robbery at Jupiter City?
Exactly. And the only thing we can do now is to alert our men in Jupiter City.
Major Robertson to Commander Corey.
Robbie's calling, sir.
Yes, Robbie?
Commander, we've got another one.
A robbery?
Yeah, and it's really serious. A model of the blackout beam has disappeared right out of the Jupiter City lab.
Jupiter City?
Hey, Commander, you sure called that one.
Yes, but too late. Robbie, blast off for Jupiter City immediately.
Yes, sir.
Make a thorough check of security measures. I want a brainograph test made of everyone at the Jupiter City lab. Spaceophone a complete report to me.
Meantime, in one of the finest buildings in Saturn City, capital of the ringed planet, a huge, broad-shouldered man sits behind a desk in a large but simply furnished office. Coiled on the desk, in a lifelike pose, is a startling example of the taxidermist art, a hooded cobra. The large man presses a button, and a moment later, a door opens, and Thad Bogan swaggers in.
Yes, Mr. Gargeth?
Bogan, the Venus Express will blast off in half an hour. You will be aboard.
Yes, sir.
When you arrive in Venus City, we'll charter an atmosphere ship and go to our hideout at the base of Mount Janik. You will pose as a botanist collecting samples.
I understand the Venus wildflowers are quite beautiful this time of year.
You can admire the flowers while you wait for Preston.
What's my business with Preston, Mr. Gargeth?
You will give him an instrument which you will find in the emergency tool locker of the atmosphere ship. The light neutralizer.
Oh, you've got the blackout beam.
Of course. Right out of the Jupiter City Space Patrol laboratory.
I'll bet Corey's tearing his hair.
Unfortunately for our cause, Corey is given to more direct and effective action. However, I think we can divert Corey's attention.
I'll rough up some more of his men?
This time I'll rough up Corey himself.
That's taking on quite a job, isn't it, Mr. Gargeth?
It's time we struck at Corey before he strikes at me.
Yes, but how?
It's very simple. Corey will be informed that the Cobra will rob automatic factory R18 outside of Saturn City.
But, Mr. Gargeth, the Space Patrol doesn't even know your organization exists. Why tip him off?
We can't hope to keep our operations a secret indefinitely. Corey must have figured out by now that these robberies have been masterminded by one organization.
Yes, but to use our secret name.
Why do you think I selected Cobra as my insignia?
Well,
you think I'm just being melodramatic, don't you? I selected the Cobra as an emblem because of its psychological effect. To the average person, the Cobra suggests something silent, ominous, and deadly. Isn't that right?
Yes, Mr. Gargeth.
Fear is a useful weapon. Before long, we will have the inhabitants of all 10 planets shuddering at the mention of the Cobra. Even the Space Patrol.
Well, how does that take care of Corey?
You think Corey would miss a chance to capture the leader of a gang that has pulled off more than 20 daring and successful robberies?
Oh, I don't suppose he would.
That's why I'm going to lure him to Factory R18.
Just how are you going to do that?
There's a civilian clerk named Walter Reiner at Corey's headquarters on Terra.
Oh, yes, he gave us some information once.
Reiner isn't much use to us, too undependable. But I'm going to plant some information on Reiner and have Corey tipped off. Corey will think he's uncovered a plot. And fly right into our trap.
Sometime later, at Space Patrol headquarters on Terra, Appy enters the commander's office with an extremely nervous young man, Walter Reiner.
This is Reiner, sir.
Thanks, Appy. Sit down, Reiner.
Yes, Commander, thank you.
I'll tell you why I've brought you here. I've received 2 anonymous tips that you have some information about a robbery.
A robbery? No, sir, that's not true.
And somebody seems quite determined to get you into trouble. Can you think of anyone who would have reason to do this to you?
Why, no, sir. Believe me, if I knew anything about a robbery, I'd report it at once.
According to these 2 informants, you're supposed to be carrying written information on you right now. Information that you're to pass on to someone else.
But that's not true, Commander. You can search me if you want. Here, I'll empty my pockets. You can examine everything. Here's my identification folder. You can look through that. There is nothing in it but...
Something wrong?
It's a slip of paper. But I don't know how it got there.
Let me see it. Plan 4 is now in effect. The Cobra will personally supervise a theft of radioactive strontium from automatic factory R18 north of Saturn City at 1800 hours Universal Star Time.
Smoking rockets? I don't know anything about it. Honestly, Commander. I know it looks bad, but I swear I don't know anything about it.
This Cobra that's mentioned here, does that mean anything to you?
No, sir, not a thing. It's a horrible trick.
All right, Reiner, all
it's
right.
Somebody's idea of a joke.
I said it's all right, Reiner.
You mean you believe me?
Somebody was very anxious for me to find this on you. Just go back to your work and don't say anything to anybody about it, understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commander. Thank you very much.
Well, somebody sure must have it in for Reiner to play a trick like that.
What Reiner watched, Happy. I'll assign a man to trail him and contact Saturn Space Patrol. I'm going to put a heavy guard on Factory R18.
You mean that Reiner isn't on the level and there really is going to be a robbery?
I think someone's trying to lure me to the factory. As for Reiner, he may be an innocent dupe. We'll watch him for a while.
Commander, he's coming back.
Commander, I got to tell you something.
Yes, Reiner, what is it?
I didn't tell you the whole truth before. When you let me go, I was relieved. Then I got scared. I'm afraid of what they might do to me.
What do you mean by they?
The gang. The Cobra gang.
And you did know about that note?
No, sir.
Well, who is this Cobra?
I don't know. But he's got a powerful organization of criminals. They're behind all of those robberies.
And you're a member of the gang?
No, not exactly. I just sold him some information a few months ago about some security control procedure.
Whom did you deal with?
It was a man named Wogan. Thad Wogan. He's one of the higher-ups.
Why are you telling all this now?
Because I think they want to get me out of the way. They're afraid I'll...
Double-cross them the way you did the Space Patrol?
I'll make up for it. I know more about the gang than they think I do. I know their secret space-phone frequency.
All right, Reiner. Start at the beginning and give me the whole story.
Even after hours of careful questioning, Commander Corey is able to obtain only a few useful bits of information about the band of criminals. Then, with Reiner in custody, Buzz and Appy begin the tedious task of checking the gang's frequencies.
Nothing on this band so far, sir. You suppose Reiner made a mistake in the frequencies?
What he told us checks with the brainograph test.
Imagine that little rat selling security secrets. I'd sure like to know who's the head of this
Wogan
outfit.
calling Cobra.
Hold it, Happy.
Wogan to Cobra.
We've got something.
Wogan to Cobra.
Cobra here. Go ahead, Wogan.
I'm set up at Marjanic.
Have you tried the neutralizer?
Yeah, it works fine. We can put it to uses the Space Patrol never dreamed of.
They've got the light neutralizer.
All right. Preston will relieve you of the machine at about 1700 hours tomorrow. Just sit tight. Cobra out.
Mount Jonik. It's about 300 miles north of Venus City. Let's get to the ship, Happy. Logan's going to be relieved of that light neutralizer sooner than he thinks.
High above the cloud-draped peak of Mount Janik, the Terra 5 circles slowly. Then, using repel ray, begins to descend as Buzz and Happy scan the terrain by sensitive viewscopes. In a small building at the base of the mountain, Thad Vogan clicks on a spaceophone.
Cobra calling Wogan. Come in, Wogan.
Logan here, go ahead.
Something's gone wrong. Don't wait for Preston. Take the light neutralizer and get out of there.
What's the matter?
Corey didn't fall for that robbery. He's arrested Reiner, and the little sap knows more about our organization than you thought he did.
He doesn't know a thing about it. Nothing that could hurt us anyway.
Look, Wogan, do what I tell you. Get the neutralizer and get out of there. I'll contact you later. Cobra out.
Now, listen, boss. What's he getting all excited about? Everything was just fine, and... What could that be? Well, this paralyzer ray will take care of the situation.
All right, drop that gun.
Sure, Space Patroller. Like this.
Get him, Hap!
Now, while you're both relaxed, enjoying the effects of my paralyzer ray, I'm going to make sure I won't be bothered by you again. This building is quite flimsily constructed. Have you noticed? A few touches with this atomo torch, and this room will be a roaring inferno.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. This is Dick Tufeld in Los Angeles, reporting on a plane that can fly 1,000 miles without refueling, the North American FJ-2 Fury. In a moment, we'll hear from the well-known test pilot on this Navy jet plane, J. Ray Donahue, Jr. The Fury is a carrier-based fighter armed with 4 20-millimeter cannons. It flies 650 miles per hour, has an altitude mark of 45,000 feet, its length 37 feet. Now, J. Ray Donahue, Jr., recorded at Edwards Air Force Base.
To fly at supersonic speeds, a test pilot must have plenty of energy. That's why I always get a good night's sleep and start the day off with a good breakfast cereal like Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. They have plenty of energy, and they taste mighty fine. And I know that you'll like them, too.
No other cereal, puffed or flaked, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So take a tip from J. Ray Donahue Jr., Bob Love, and other top test pilots. Make your cereals Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. And now, back to our space patrol adventure, the Serpent of Saturn. Zarkov, who calls himself the Cobra, has organized a band of criminals that has successfully committed scores of daring robberies. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy traced Zarkov's chief henchman, Thad Bogan, to a hideout at the base of Mount Janik on the planet Venus. When Buzz and Happy entered the small building, Bogan rendered the space patrollers helpless with a paralyzer ray. Then, to prevent pursuit, he set fire to the building. Now, as the flames roar about them, Buzz and Happy struggle against the effects of the paralyzer ray.
Hey, Commander, I can move a little. Try to stand up, Happy. The heat in this place is like a furnace. If we can't shake the ray effect off in a couple of minutes, we're finished. I can move my arms, but I can't stand there. I made it. My legs are numb, but I can walk. Here, give me your hand. Lean on me. It's wearing off. I'm going to make it. A few more steps, we'll be outside the building. We made it. Wow. I got a lucky break. The charge in Bogan's ray gun was fairly light. Commander, look back at the building. We got out just in time. Can you see Bogan anywhere? No, sir. The smoke is too thick. Hey, but he couldn't have blasted off yet. Would have hurt his ship. There he is, headed for his ship. I see him now. Hey, what's that he's carrying? Must be the light neutralizer. If my legs weren't so numb, we could catch him. Uh-oh, he saw us. Just wish he'd come back here. He acts like he's considering it. Well, he's not going to risk getting within range of our ray guns. I bet he wishes he'd taken them from us. He was so sure his fire trap was going to work. Hey, that's funny. He's not going to his ship after all. He's heading for the mountain. Come on, Hap, let's try to follow him. Yes, sir. Why didn't he go to his ship? We couldn't have stopped him from blasting off. Oh, it's an atmosphere job. Logan probably figures we could space a phone for a patrol ship to go after him. Yeah, sure. He's taking a chance on losing us on the mountain. You have your miniature space phone, Hap? Yes, sir. Report to Venus City headquarters and keep on after Bogan.
With Buzz and Happy doggedly following him, Thad Bogan climbs higher and higher up the steep face of Mount Janik. At first, he outdistances them. But as the minutes go by, the effects of the paralyzer ray wear off, and Buzz and Happy start gaining on Bogan.
Bogan's sure hanging onto that light neutralizer. If he'd throw it away, he'd be able to climb a lot faster.
He won't drop it till he has to.
I hope he hangs on to it. After the way we're risking our necks to get it back.
I'll say this for Bogan. He climbs like a mountain goat.
I'll say. Hey, Commander, is that model the only light neutralizer in existence?
Yes. This model was to be tested, then if proved successful, a larger model was to be made into a spaceship.
Well, does it really black out light completely?
It can, but it's designed to reduce the sun's glare on ships making flights on sunward vectors, particularly between the inner planets.
It sure would come in handy on construction jobs on space platforms.
Uh-huh.
Hey, it looks like Bogan's going to take us clear to the top.
Make sure he doesn't get directly above us and drop a rock on us.
We're still on his trail, sir. See? That's where he dug a foothold.
Watch your step, Happy. It's a 2,000-foot drop if you slip.
I think I'd better rest a minute, sir. I'm getting dizzy. Everything's getting dark.
I noticed the same thing, but it's not dizziness. My head's perfectly clear.
Hey, look at the sun. I can hardly see it. Hey, there must be an eclipse.
An eclipse on Venus?
Yeah, that's right. Venus doesn't have a moon. But there can't be an eclipse. But something's shutting off the sun. It's a heavy fog, maybe.
Don't move, Hap.
Smoking rockets, it's pitch dark.
Logan's turned the blackout beam on us, the light neutralizer. If we try to move another inch in this darkness, we'll drop into the chasm.
Well, isn't he in the same fix we are?
Not necessarily. The neutralizer can be adjusted to dim out light all around you, or it can be focused in a beam.
If we only had our atomo lights.
They wouldn't work, Happy. The field of the neutralizer cuts out all light waves.
What are we going to do? We can't go back down. We can't go ahead, and... Well, Bogan's got us at his mercy.
There's one thing. He can't see us.
He doesn't have to see us. All he's got to do is wait until we make a false move, and we're goners.
Wait a minute, Hap. There's a good-sized rock here next to me. I can feel it. I'm going to try to give it a shove down the side of the mountain. When it drops, let out a yell.
I get it. Make him think we've fallen.
Right.
Here goes.
Look out, Commander!
How was that? Very realistic. For a minute, I was afraid you did fall. Press close to the cliff and keep very still. Hey, he turned off the neutralizer. I can see. He'll probably wait to be sure we're gone. Oh, I hope he doesn't come back down here to investigate.
Woken to Cobra. Woken to Cobra.
Listen, he's got a miniature spaceophone. Turn your volume up, Hap.
Woken to Cobra.
Cobra here. Where are you?
Halfway to the top of Mount Shonic. Corey, this cadet were after me.
Cor? They're on Venus?
Now, take it easy, Mr. Gargan. It's all right. Corey and that cadet won't bother us anymore. I took good care of them.
Good. How?
I turned on the light neutralizer. They couldn't see it in the blackout beam and fell off the ledge.
Nice work, Woken.
Yeah, but I'm still on the mountain, and I don't like it.
I'll come and get you.
Think I want to wait up here while you come all the way from Saturn?
I'm not on Saturn. I'm in a spaceship not very far from Venus.
Well, that's better. Get her as soon as you can. Corey may have notified the Space Patrol before he fell.
Right, you get to the top of the peak. Everything looks clear. I'll land and pick you up. Cobra out.
Hurry.
So the Cobra's name is Gargan. Vogan thought he was on Saturn. Probably that's the headquarters of the outfit. It's possible. What do we do now? Tip off the Venus City Space Patrol? Use our spaceophone. Vogan might hear it. Sure. We'll take a chance on sneaking up on Vogan. If we capture him before Zarkov gets here, we may be able to trick him into landing. And then we'll have the Cobra. Come on, let's go. Stay close to the cliff so he can't see us.
Slowly and cautiously, Buzz and Happy resume their climb up the steep mountainside. Occasionally, they get a glimpse of Vogan far above them. Then they press close to the cliff and wait.
We've had one good break. Vogan doesn't ever look down. He's probably afraid he'll get dizzy. And the going's not so steep now, sir. We're getting near the top. I'm thankful for this growth of brush at the summit. It'll help us hide from Vogan. Hope we can get him before the Cobra shows up. Drop, Happy. Hit the dirt. Did he see us? I guess not. He's going on. But he started to look down this way. We'd better wait a few minutes.
At last, Vogan reaches the summit of Mount Shonic. Wearily, he lays down the light analyzer, then sits on a rock to rest. Silently, Buzz and Happy creep closer.
Careful, Happy. Don't let him hear us. Well, there's not much cover from here on. Do we rush him? Let's try to get a few yards closer. If he has a chance to use that blackout beam, we could never find him. Yeah. Oh, gee. Get the neutralizer, Hap. I'll handle Vogan. Corey! I'll take that gun, Vogan. All right, Vogan. Had enough? Yeah. Happy, got the neutralizer? Yes, sir. Hey, Commander, it's a spaceship. It's probably Vogan's pal. Better all get out of sight before he gets close enough to see us. Come on, Vogan. Get over there by that brush. You stand out where you can be seen. We'll be in the brush right behind you. Yeah, sure. I'm coming.
Cobra to Vogan. Cobra to Vogan.
Answer him, Vogan. Don't try to warn him. Okay. Vogan, to Cobra. Go ahead.
There aren't any ships in the vicinity. I'm coming in to pick you up.
All right, come ahead. Corey's here. Watch out. Give me that spaceophone.
Corey, you told me Corey was dead.
I was very much alive, Gargan. Or Cobra, wherever you are. Now make it easy on yourself and land, or I'll have every patrol ship in the Venus sector after you.
You'd better talk fast, then, because I'm going to blast you off that mountain with a space torpedo.
No, boss. Please don't.
You've made a stupid blunder, Vogan, but I assure you that the rocket is meant only for Corey. If you get it, well, it's an unfortunate accident.
Space torpedoes? We don't stand a chance. We've got to hide. We've got to hide. Happy sure your spacephone's turned off? It is, sir. Good. Let's have a look at that light neutralizer. That's not going to save us, not from torpedoes. See, this setting ought to be about right for our purpose. Now, we'll just set the neutralizer here on the ground. Now, come on. Get out of the field of darkness, quickly. I can't see. Of course you can't, stupid. Just do what the commander tells you. Come on. Hey. We're out of the field. He can see us if you stay in the brush. Just get far away from that field of neutralized light. Yeah. We should be safe enough.
Commander, you've made a nice target. From here in the ship, the field of darkness looks like a black hole on the top of the mountain. A black round hole. Somewhere inside that hole you were hiding. So futile, Commander. So pathetically futile.
He's making a pass right over us. He fired a torpedo. Smoke and rockets. The field of darkness is gone. And when you look at that hole, what a blast.
Well, there goes a perfectly good light neutralizer blown to bits.
Yeah. And also, there goes the Cobra. He figures he finished us.
You sure he's not coming back?
It doesn't look like it.
I'd sure hate to see that crook get away.
He'd better enjoy his triumph while he can, Happy. Because we're going after the Cobra, and we won't give up till we get him.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Hi, Space Patrollers. This is Captain Tufel.
And Cadet Happy.
I'm reporting to you on Rice Chex.
And I'm reporting to you on Wheat Chex.
Rice Chex, triple toasted shredded rice biscuits. The taste mighty good. Tops for taste. That's Rice Chex.
Wheat Chex. Boy, they've got a swell whole wheat flavor that just can't be beat. Tops for taste. That's Wheat Chex, too.
And Rice Chex are made in that modern, bite-sized design for easy eating. Tops for size. That's Rice Chex.
Wheat Chex are bite-sized for super easy eating. Tops for size, too.
And, gang, after a good, nourishing breakfast with Chex, rice, or wheat, you'll see they're tops for get up and go.
Real Space Patrol get up and go, like the Commander has.
Chex, a good word to remember at breakfast time or any time, because
they're tops 3 ways. For taste, size, and get up and go.
Look for the red and white checkerboard packages with the picture of the Commander or
the swell picture of me on the outside.
Yes, and the terrific Space Patrol trading card on the inside. Rice Chex.
Wheat Chex.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are exploring the system of unused water mains under Jupiter City, searching for a hidden laboratory operated by the Cobra Gang. After trudging nearly a mile in a crouched position, Happy moans.
Oh, my aching back. I sure wish this pipe was 6 inches bigger.
From the chart, the lab should be just a few hundred yards ahead.
Commander, there's air blowing through the main.
Yes, it's getting stronger every second.
This is like being in a wind tunnel. What's causing it?
Yes, being forced to the main by the water behind it.
Water? What water?
From the reserve tank. Gargot knows we're down here, and he's trying to drown us.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, The Gems of Jupiter, when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Len Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Deverett. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, and Bela Kovach. Dick Tufel speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex again present Space Patrol! Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast for Armed Forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.